And then me and my girlfriend, we went home and celebrated her 69th birthday in a very apropos fashion.
Wow. Oh, well, congratulations.
See, this is where we need a soundboard.
We don't need a soundboard. We have you.
Before you came here, we were talking about getting a soundboard. Because that little podcast y'all like has one.
I mean,
Keel.
You can just use
that one.
So you've listened to it now.
I've listened to that one a couple times.
It's great, isn't it?
It's funny. I mean, it's basically just listening to three people shoot the shit. But.
Yeah, that's what. But in an organized way.
Somewhat about as organized as
unlike
us.
some other shows that we know.
Oh,
so
man.
Speaking of which, the next thing that happened.
Let's say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hello, and welcome again to Hunker Downcast. I know it's been a long time.
What's Hunker Downcast?
Well, it's this thing that we do sometimes. It's we sit around and drink and talk into these microphones, like the one you have in front of you right now. Have you seen it?
That's that show that we do sometimes.
It's
yeah,
not
you remember that?
The Hunker Down
Barely.
podcast, the other Hunker Down podcast. This is the Hunker Down cast.
Right.
In fact, I haven't revisited those boys to see if they're still doing it, but
The Georgia football one.
I don't know what they are. It was a bro cast. They seemed all right, but they were bros. Holler at us, Tim and them, about that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen you guys to do this show that I almost forgot that we did this show. So
You're probably not the only one.
I'm probably not. Although I've been getting some text requests lately about, what's the deal? When are you guys going to record your Mardi Gras recap?
Is that what the people want to hear? Is Mardi Gras?
The people want to hear about the Mardi Gras.
Do they know it's March 1st?
It's our super card. It's the biggest event of our year. The Mardi Gras recap episode. It's a very special episode.
Did you guys know that next year it won't even be Mardi Gras yet on this date?
Like this time next year, it will be Muses Thursday.
It'll be Muses Thursday or something. Yeah.
So that's kind of fucked me up a little bit because St. Patty's Day is going to be right behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Or St. Patty Gras or something. That's turning into a little bit of a mini Mardi Gras in and of itself.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I used to do it. I don't know that I can do it anymore.
With the St. Patrick's Day stuff?
Yeah. It's a little extra.
Yeah.
It is quite extra. I have a bit of a prejudice. I'm going to come right out and say it. I'm going to counseling for it. But I do have a bias and prejudice against Irish Americans. They're extra. They're extra as fuck.
Well, I mean,
they're not Irish people. They're just regular old white Americans who've attached themselves to this fucking heritage.
Right.
That the struggles of which they themselves have never, ever, ever even had to face whatsoever at all.
Buddy, can I give you a tip? Don't ever go to a Notre Dame football game. Ever. You will hate the shit out of them.
I mean, I could handle some Indiana guys like that. But I think those Boston ones are the ones that really kind of turned me against Irish Americans.
I think the Chicago variety will similarly.
Oh yeah, they're of
extremely
the
disappoint you.
Same vein. The New Orleans ones kind of suck too. But hey, y'all, I'm working on it. I know it's wrong. Every person should be judged equally and on face value. But when they get together and they get drunk, it's just oh god.
How many Leprechaun movies were there? Because I'm just trying to track their level of representation in pop culture.
I think The Departed was like they're the Gone with the Wind of Irish Americans. Yeah, it was just like it's when they really all just really celebrated how badass they were and stuff.
Yeah,
in spite of never having set foot on the Emerald Isle,
man,
nor their parents probably had ever.
The Departed is like the most unlikely movie for every fucking character to die at the end. And yet, you get to the end of the movie and it's like, wow, they're all dead, huh?
Yes.
Crazy.
And then, for whatever reason, Martin Scorsese... No, yeah, he did that one, right?
Yeah.
He says, the movie's ending, there's a balcony. Let's CGI a rat crawling across the fucking balcony. Even though it's like a huge condo. It's like on the top floor of some condo building. Well, let's just CGI a big-ass rat crawling across the balcony.
The rat that symbolizes obviousness?
Yeah, not only did it look bad, and not only was it like, why the fuck is there a rat up there? There was also, the metaphor was just so fucking clunky and beating you over the head. Yes. I was just like, oh, that sucked.
The rat symbolizes obviousness.
Anyways,
well, St. Patrick's Day in New Orleans is the extra Mardi Gras, and
it is extra. Another thing awful about it is that those pasty, white, light-eyed, kind of ruddy-skinned Irish American dudes, they look like shit in that emerald green, those emerald green shirts and shit that they wear. Like those two color combos, like. They should never wear that color, and yet you just see it fucking everywhere that day, you know. And it's just like it's aesthetically horrible. In addition to their attitudes and everything are also, you know, but also it just looks so fucking bad.
It's also like it's like if you took everything out of Mardi Gras except for the Chads.
It is.
And just let them go to town.
It's St. Chaddy's Day.
It is.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on. It's like all the Chads and Britneys without any of the other... Yeah, you're exactly right. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh, God.
They do throw those fucking cabbages, though. That's fun.
Yeah.
But you can't get a lot of vegetables.
So the downside of a late Mardi Gras is like you don't have time to recover from it, and right before that happens. Now,
well, you could just skip St. Chaddy's Day.
You can, but some of us don't. And
you go see one. It's just one extra parade.
Right. On the flip side, the downside of the early Mardi Gras is you really don't have time to recover from the holidays.
I'll take a late one.
You like the late one better?
Yeah, of the two.
I enjoyed the early Mardi Gras this year. I was really worried because of weather issues, but as I'm sure we'll talk about when we get into it, the weather always plays a big role in, I think, the enjoyment of the season overall. But we had some close calls, but I think we also had some weather-related miracles that made early Mardi Gras work out just fine. Yeah,
it was really being... it was threatening us the whole time, but it never really followed through on any of the threats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Krewe du Vieux was the first one. There was literally, like, you could look at the fucking radar and be like, oh, yeah, it's going to rain here in about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Which is right when the parade was supposed to come, but nope.
Well, and it did rain. I guess we can jump into, our recap here.
Sure, let's just go right ahead.
Because Krewe du Vieux would be the first thing we'd talk about anyway. And unless you want to talk about coming out and seeing the Funny 40 Fellows.
I think we already talked about that.
Let's go right to Krewe.
Right.
We got a lot of
ground. Yeah, so on Krewe du Vieux Day, as listeners know, I'm always in this parade. I always help my crew captain set up her house for our party. So we do like a pre-game party at my captain's house. And I show up and then I go and get all the food. So I'm like running all these errands. I'm going to McCarty's and Canseco's and all this stuff, and then I'm bringing it in the house. But this year I had to do that in an absolute, complete downpour. Because it was that day, it poured rain, and that was exactly when I needed to go out and get the food. So I thought for sure, like, this is going to be miserable. I'm not going to be able to throw anything. We're going to be all wearing ponchos. Are they going to cancel it? It was like really up to the last minute. Are we even going to go? And we all had emergency ponchos ready. And then, we're all having the party at my captain's house. And then it just sort of stopped raining. And like right as we were about to get on the bus and head down to the parade. And then we looked at the radar, and it's like, oh, we're actually good. So it ended up being fine. And I don't know how that happened, because it was one of those things, I think, where the front split, you know? Where, like, some of the rain goes south and some of the rain goes north, but magically it just misses New Orleans. In that way that it did so many times, actually, over Mardi Gras. But
and that really became the running theme of the year, was like, oh my God, this is going to get wiped out, and you know, and then like the skies would part, and it would just be another miracle.
Yeah,
and this kind of set the tone for it. Like
it did.
And this was more perfect than most of them, actually. Krewe du Vieux was like...
It was wonderful. And yet the threat of weather also kept a bunch of people away, so the crowd was a little thinner than usual, which I think actually made it more enjoyable.
It became another running theme all year, too.
Yeah, very much so. But, yeah, there were fewer people than usual out, but everyone there was, like, really into it and really appreciative. The parade was wonderful. I had that great mix, you know, like I did my drinking appropriately, so I was
smart.
I had that good vibe going right for the parade.
It's very important.
I got to use the bathroom at Dirty Boys, which was a lifesaver.
Did you drink any
Kickapoo Joy Juice?
Kickapoo Joy Juice?
Absolutely.
Every
year.
That is
it goes down.
That's what really slays the crew of Mamaru.
It goes down easy, and then so do you.
It does.
Well, what is the Kickapoo Joy Juice?
Nobody knows.
I don't know for sure.
Nobody knows, but
there's red Kickapoo and yellow Kickapoo. So it's like cranberry and pineapple. There's two varieties.
The crew members, when I was in the crew, would like talk about it as if it was like a tiger or something. Like, just yeah, you can drink it, yeah, but go ahead, but just it was spoken in this manner that it was like a...
Don't look it directly in the face.
Like it was gunpowder or something like that. Like you had to, contain it a little bit and stuff.
My favorite part is there's like big canisters or whatever of it at the party, but then they always pack up a cooler full of, those little mini water bottles. They empty them all out, and then they fill them with Kickapoo. So there's a cooler full of little mini bottles of Kickapoo on the float.
Oh, good.
Which is always fun.
And I noticed that I think I had dragged the crew of Mamaru for their speed on our last episode or in previous episodes, but I noticed this year that y'all fucking led the pack.
We did.
Y'all were the pace car.
And I believe on the last episode I told you that your concerns or criticisms were bullshit, and I was correct. So
well, this year, yes, you were correct. But I know I speak from experience that I looked up and saw the parade about 2 blocks ahead of us one year.
Sometimes you get...
And a wedding party did get in also in the parade.
I've said this before, but sometimes when the crowd is really thick and really pushy, then, because of, like, fluid dynamics, right? The parade gets stretched out. But this year, the thinner crowds meant that we could stay nice and bunched together. And we had a really good band. I thought the floats overall were really good. There was lots of John Besh content this year. There was lots of Trump content again. There was lots of like Russia-themed shit.
I'm trying to remember what my favorite one was. Somebody was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or something like that.
20,000 Arpents Under the Sea.
20,000 Arpents Under the Sea. That's what it was. And they all had... their costumes were like those old-timey deep-sea diver things, and they looked really cool.
That was Chaos, I think. My neighbor was in that one.
Okay.
They were awesome. I liked their theme a lot, too.
Can y'all confirm or deny something for me? I had heard a rumor that because of the rain, Krewe du Vieux had maybe pitched to the city rolling on Sunday, and the city was like, hold on, let me look into that. Oh, yeah, go fuck yourself.
So, this happened a couple of times, and this, again, going with the long theme that we're probably going to talk about a lot, this was the first instance of, everybody getting nervous about the weather, and then the weather clearing up miraculously.
Sure.
Also...
a Mardi Gras miracle, if you will.
Yes.
Hashtag Mardi Gras miracle.
There was a side conversation about maybe going on Sunday, and the city told them, like what you just said, just go fuck themselves.
Yeah, it sounded like tersely, like they in no way, shape, form, or fashion were they going to entertain it.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah, you've been rolling fucking floats with me and with balls on my face for the last 7 years, and now you need a little favor. Go fuck yourself, Krewe du Vieux.
Well, in fact, some of the crew members or the sources or whatever who I talked to believe that is exactly why.
It makes perfect sense to me.
That might just be their personal perspective on it.
Yeah.
But they thought, they don't like, all the, like, giant dicks. They don't like...
On a Sunday.
Right, well...
On the Lord's Day.
Good God.
And they don't
sperms on
particularly
Sunday.
care for the satire.
Sabbath sperms.
And so they had to go on Saturday. But it turned out to be the right
fuck 'em
decision.
anyway.
Yeah, it turned out to be fine. Because
it
I
was
think that
amazing.
it rained a lot on Sunday, I believe. The day after.
Yeah, it did. Sunday ended up being ridiculous.
But,
so.
I remember. There was also lots of sewage and waterboard content. Lots of pumping jokes, draining and pumping, sewers. Yeah, lots of good riffs on the old S&WB. I would say very successful parade.
I had a good time. We all went to the Dirty Boys.
I saw you guys. Oh, yeah, because I ditched the ball and I came and partied with y'all after.
Yeah, you did.
It was really fun.
I have a photo of you on my Instagram doing that.
We have a bunch of photos.
We had a good night at the gallery. We had a pen for the potty, and everyone bought a pen,
right.
who had previously bought a pen, so you didn't need to buy one that night. Could use the potty. I think several Twitterers showed up and got them pens, and then the pen also gets you in the bathroom at least for next year also. So
that's good to know.
That's a 3-year span of pens. If that route comes right by the gallery, which I was shocked when I saw the route, I was like, oh my god, this night's going to be fucking off the chain.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to be able to have the gallery open just to everybody. So that's when we came up with the pen for the potty.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought
We
it was a
made
great
some money.
idea.
And it became, it really did become kind of a meeting spot for a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while. And that's the other thing about Mardi Gras is, like, you just go through this process of seeing every person, like, at least once. Like,
It is, yeah.
It doesn't matter, like, how, like, you just find them and they find you somehow.
It always and if you don't, then you note it.
Right.
Oh, I didn't see Randy this year. Dang.
Yeah, like I missed Lee Checkman this year. Didn't see her.
She was
I really
around?
bummed about that. I think she was here for Krewe du Vieux.
Huh.
So.
Well, we had a good night at the gallery, and I had a really nice Krewe du Vieux. It seemed to be booking. It seemed to be going really fast.
Yeah, it was moving at a good clip.
And then that Krewe delusion thing, it seemed to go by in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Over the years, they've gotten both tighter, like in that they actually appeared to be an actual parade, but also they seem smaller than
They did this year, for sure. Other than that, I had a really good time. I didn't quite get as off the hook as I did previous years, but that's all right.
What was in the, speaking of kickapoo juice or whatever, what was in the punch that you threw together?
I think it was a basic sangria, and then I always add a secret ingredient that I cannot disclose to anyone.
You peed in it, didn't you?
No, not my pee.
Oh, great.
It was opossum pee.
Oh.
It was opossum pee. Makes you feel a little hallucinogenic sometimes.
Delicious. Should we move on to first parade weekend?
No, wait. I want to say that this happened on the Krewe du Vieux weekend because I was at the gallery both nights. But on the Friday night, there was a woman across the street named Myra at Harry's. It was like 11:52. Word got out that it was going to be her 70th birthday at 12 o'clock. Her name was, I think, Myra. We all sang it. It was a beautiful thing. A lady turned 70. We all sang happy birthday to her. Then on Krewe du Vieux night, I'm sitting there out in front of the gallery. A woman walks across the street. She's shooting the shit with us. She goes, it's about to be her name was Marjorie. She goes, it's about to be my 69th birthday. I'm like, well, holy shit. I look, it's like 11:51. I'm like, well, shit, man, we're going to fucking stick around for this. It's 69. I made tons of I made tons of fucking jokes about that. Like, I would say it and
just yelling in the street instead of saying Stella, you're like, nice!
I would be like, 69 is fine and shit like that to her. And she was just so overcome with the fact that people were excited about her birthday. And
it's the sex number.
Well, no, she didn't get a single reference that I made, and I was getting nastier and nastier with them.
Good.
And she just never, just all of them right over her head. Then we sung that for her too, and I was like, "This is going to be a good Mardi Gras, man." 70th birthday, and then the very next night, a 69th birthday.
We've been here 13 years doing this, and then all of a sudden they got to come out and do this.
City workers disposing ladders on the parade route for being set up too early.
A lot of them are personalized. Some of this stuff is generations old, and it means something to somebody. So to just say that we're going to come and sweep all the ladders on St. Charles Avenue is a little easier said than done.
While some neighbors were able to save their ladders in time, the city says safety is top priority.
This is for your own safety and the safety of our children. There are no roping off areas of the neutral ground, fastening ladders together. No private portable toilets on the neutral ground. There's a $250 fine.
The mayor also says no tents are allowed on the route.
This is a homeland security threat. We need to be able to see. There can be tarps, but there can be no tent.
NOPD will be at 100% staffing. There will be 165 state police officers, some working undercover.
People that bring weapons to parade routes, so please don't do that. It's not going to be a smart idea. You will be arrested.
Also new this year, almost all parades will not make the canal loop to free up space for emergency vehicles.
So the Krewe du Vieux was really beautiful. And then the next thing that happened was the big press conference where everybody got together at the Bat Cave, or whatever they call it now, the crime monitoring center
with all the
crime
TVs
Panopticon.
Yes, where they watch everything that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they installed all these blinking blue and red cameras all along the parade.
The machine that goes ping.
The machine that goes ping, right? And they gave their regular press conference that they do right when Mardi Gras starts to kick up, where they tell everybody how to behave, and they warn you that they're watching.
Don't pee in public.
They say all of the things. But they added a little bit of a flair to it this year, where they said, especially, listen, y'all, we're taking it seriously what you put on the neutral ground. Your ladders and your tents and shit, we're going to come and get it. We're coming to get it. And just to drive the point home, while they were having the press conference, they sent some people out to St. Charles Avenue.
Via satellite, live via satellite from St. Charles Avenue.
It almost looked exactly like that was what was happening. And picked up some ladders and put them in a truck and hauled them off. And
they're probably where the statues are right now. The statues and the ladders are all there's P.T. Beauregard and somebody's little fucking ladder sitting right there in some place in the east.
So it turned out though that they only actually got like 7. Like that one event was it was almost kind of staged. Like that was the only time they went out and actually took the ladders. When the TV cameras were rolling.
It was kayfabe.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But to be frank, that's the way they should do that. Like, make a big show of it at the beginning of the season. That they don't have the capacity or the time to really fuck with people constantly.
It's Jackson Square artist type situation where the city is, whenever like something was about to happen to us out there, it would always come by in the form of a rumor that the city, who were the bad guys, who were like this overlord, they're going to start doing this. And I swear to God, it wouldn't take them more than it would take them one person to get a ticket for staying out too late or something like that. Okay. And then the next day, every artist was gone by 6 or whatever. So yeah. It was, and the artists are also an unenforceable. Not only would it be hard for them to enforce it, but they don't have enough fucks to give to enforce it either. And that's kind of like what a parade route is. It's just like, there's no way we're going to be able to collect all the ladders. There's no way we're going to be able to do this, and nor do we really give that much of a fuck about it.
No.
So you put on a little horse and pony show like this,
And it was actually pretty effective. And it's what...
Well, wait, no. First of all, the city got some fucking press as being dicks about it. They're like, they're taking these people's poor ladders and fucking up their Mardi Gras experience.
Yes, because, the news went out and interviewed all of the aggrieved ladder people, which really made me mad. And so then I came really close to being on the news because I offered up myself as an interview subject as someone who was very happy about the ladder enforcement. In fact, I should have made myself a t-shirt or something that said, sweep ladders, not homeless camps or something.
Wow.
Or fuck the ladders and the statues. Take the ladders and put them where the statues are.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's the same motherfuckers, right?
It kind of
they don't want the city moving anything.
They don't. Ladder people and statue people. Right?
The Venn diagram is definitely. It's almost a. It's almost a circle. Yeah.
Yes.
It also encompasses both people who live uptown, but a lot of people who live in Jefferson Parish.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of people who just dump their ladders, on a certain block where their cousin lives or whatever, and then they leave them there for the whole time.
Also, Perlis shirt users and Chads.
And Alla's point is that they, the TV reports about it were they really were just, my God, I can't believe the city is doing this. And
oh God.
These ladders are family heirlooms.
Right.
But he built this. So what? And what about the children?
Yeah.
It's worth that though because it's effective. It says, we mean business, y'all. Even though it's still going to happen, even though people are going to put their ladders out there, I've always argued that really it's a self-policing event. People just need to be considerate of other people and to be aware of what the rules actually are. And
that's what the Jackson Square artists are also.
They're self-policing.
Yeah.
And if you just you demonstrate a little bit that the city's willing to be dicks about it, even though practically they can't bulldoze every ladder, people tend to respect that a little bit more. So throughout the year, and this may have been the weather, but it also may have just been, I noticed that it was easier to move around in the crowd. It was easier, the ladders were, for the most part, you could get through them. It never felt cramped, and it never felt like people were being shitty to one another.
Well, not over here, but in other places, it was still ladder hell over down by Napoleon.
Yeah, see, I can only, talk about where I was, which is kind of the problem with this, but yeah.
But it's also why I keep coming to watch parades with you, because this is the last good spot. So don't anyone else come over, watch them here.
Well, I'm fucking down.
I know.
The only reason Allie comes over to see us during Mardi Gras is
it's a good spot,
Jeff.
No, let's be honest. It's a good spot. There's a bathroom.
Yeah.
Oftentimes there's jambalaya made.
Or enchiladas.
It's not hard to park, and if you want to come early, you can just kind of chill. It's a 1 block walk to the route. You get Jeff and his myriad of his Mardi Gras nerddom he's one of the biggest Mardi Gras nerds there is. It's like Arthur Hardy and then Jeff. So, but of course, it wouldn't be the same if he didn't live here, and he's not going to forever, we all know that.
Until they Airbnb me and put me under the bridge.
For sure.
So anyway, that was during the week, and then the next thing that happened was Oshun and Cleopatra on Friday night, and I don't think that you guys were there for those.
Trash Muses and Oshun.
Trash Muses and Oshun.
I'm pissing everybody off tonight.
Man.
These guys. Hey, I used to live on the West Bank.
This isn't the player haters ball. Come on.
What I remember about those parades, and this is so long ago now, is that this was actually the one night where it did rain a lot.
No, it also rained for Nyx.
That's true. But it did rain for Oshun and Cleopatra, and we are pros at this now, so we go out and we have ponchos and our rain
like a French Quarter tourist or something.
Yeah. Well, no, we have the heavy duty raincoats.
Oh, better.
And you go out there and you can stand in that. You can take all that stuff. I can't remember much about how it was. I just remember that we were paying a lot of attention to where the tents and ladders were that night.
Oh, so it was early. You were surveying it,
Yeah.
seeing how the press conference, what the trickle-down effect of the press conference was.
Yeah. It looked good. Cleopatra looked really good. They had more of the marching clubs than I've seen in the past with them. And
the camel toe steppers and the bearded oysters and
the mufalas and they had the Elvi in Cleopatra. And
I think my friend Doug's in that. And
unusual to see them like that early.
They're going strong.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're getting big. They get fucked up. Every time I see them, Elvi, every last one of them looks wasted.
On those little scooters too, right?
Yeah. And they're all fat Elvis. Even if they're trying to be young, sexy Elvis, none of them look like young, sexy Elvis. They all look like end of the road, keeling over on the throne Elvis.
Plus, they're all like riding around in that cloud of diesel fumes the entire parade.
Yeah,
it's like they're probably like choking themselves from carbon monoxide
in
poisoning.
addition to all the booze and shit that they're drinking. Their blood is definitely certain parts carbon monoxide, certain parts alcohol, and then platelets and shit after that.
This year I got an Elvi scarf, the red scarf.
Cute.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Hell yeah, I didn't even get that, and I knew Elvi.
Well, to be fair, I got it from an Elvi at my house party. They brought it for me.
You didn't get it honest?
No, it was a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't go out Friday night or Saturday, but I did come out Sunday because the weather was amazing on Sunday.
Yep.
It was beautiful.
Really well. So did you make it for Femme Fatale this year?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
We both did.
Femme Fatale, as I think you called it one year.
Did I? They
because it was misspelled.
I'm right
on
about
one
this
of those.
parade though. It's like the sneaky best parade of the first weekend.
It was really good.
First weekend, sure.
Yeah, it's like
I made a special effort to come see it, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, what the fuck?
I mean, you got to get up early in the morning because it's like 11 o'clock.
I mean, I parked and walked from Lee Circle to your house to see it. And I was just like, okay, I mean, it's a solid parade, but man, I was expecting something magical and amazing, and I think you overhyped it a little bit.
Yeah.
No offense, Femme Fatale, but last year, Jeff, he said it was the number one parade of the whole thing, and it seemed like
it's
my favorite bands are LCD Sound System and Led Zeppelin. You know, it's just like, okay, you're being Mardi Gras nerd here.
It's usually the first time that I don't know that you feel like
Pavement and then
somebody's like
Stones.
Put out an effort to have all the big bands and to like do I don't know a big-ish parade. And
they did have the bands.
Yeah. So
I mean, it was good. I was certainly better than Alla, which I hated.
That day is so packed full of shit. That's the problem with that Sunday. There's like how many parades are there that day? They're like 6.
4, I think.
It's like
they kept coming.
Yeah. And like they kind of bleed into one another.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's Femme Fatale, and then there's what Carrollton,
KingArthur,
and then KingArthur, and then
Alla.
There was one where they seemed to be throwing a lot. I don't know, it wasn't Carrollton or KingArthur, but they need to bump that to the final spot.
That's a good idea.
I mean, it's like wrestling where the best one goes on last, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just that
the Thoth is kind of better than Morpheus, right? I always thought so.
Yeah, there's a prime time spot, right? Like, so Morpheus follows Data, but nobody is like staying around for Morpheus a lot of the time.
A lot. I've only done it once, and then Krewe du Vieux is better than Krewe du Illusion, but Krewe du Illusion rolls second. So I don't know.
It's almost like there's the prime time, and then there's the late show, you know?
But then Bacchus and Orpheus and Muses and Nyx all roll last. So it's just you got to know. You got to be in the know.
That's right.
You got to read that Arthur Hardy guide, or in the future the Skooks guide to the
Skooks
Mardi Gras.
Guide to Mardi Gras.
But hey, look, that day
you should
was
do a zine next year, Jeff.
my second funnest day of Mardi Gras because we were all out there.
Yeah, that was a blast.
We were all happy and feeling good and very excited.
Drinking Miller Lite in the sunshine.
There was fried chicken. There was so much fried chicken.
Pat went and got us chicken.
The Miller Lite was flowing. We were all with our significant others except Tim and Larry. There was a lot of interaction. It was kind of like there was a lot of space out there. Everybody was happy. It was a joyous day.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm kind of flipping through my pictures while y'all are talking about this because I'm trying to remember.
I think Larry caught a shark that she was having a lot of fun with.
That's right.
I had an interaction with Clotilde, Boudreaux's girlfriend. I called her Boudreaux's girlfriend, and even in her little suit, I could see her disdain for me. Like her body language was such that I knew I had done something wrong. Like she kind of put her hands on her hips and pointed that emotionless face at me, and I was like, uh-oh. I called her Boudreaux's girlfriend, and she's pissed off at me. She's not giving me any beads. So I'm trying to figure out, was she mad at me because I just didn't know her name and just thought of her only as Boudreaux's girlfriend?
Probably not. She probably wasn't that offended by it. Not knowing her name.
Well, you just contradicted everything that I just said, where I could clearly see, even through her suit, that she was...
That doesn't seem right.
Okay, well, she had the beads in her hand, and she was going to throw them, and I said, "Hey, Boudreaux's girlfriend," and then she put them down and put her hands on her hips and looked at me like, "Fuck off, dude."
Okay.
She may have been mad because her and Boudreaux are married now.
Oh.
And I did refer to her as his girlfriend.
So you thought that Boudreaux and Clotilde were living in sin?
Well, I don't consider it that. I mean, I think everybody should be able to. Right?
It's a family. It's a family parade.
Not
parade. Family baseball.
Sure. I mean, they're all on steroids and do coke, but. Anyways, I figured, so one of y'all told me her name, so I ran down the street and called her by her name proper, and then I did get the beads, and she seemed a lot, nicer to me. So that was my favorite moment of that day. And I had a really good time with y'all. It felt like it was the good old days happening in real time, Like I was going to remember this moment as a really perfect time for the rest of my life. So that was my second best day of the Mardi Gras.
There are two things I remember about this day. One is that all these parades are everyone needs to come up with their own signature handmade throw now.
Mm-hmm.
And Femme Fatale is throwing decorated flasks.
Oh yeah.
And KingArthur is throwing holy grails.
Yep.
And I got one of each, and I was very proud of myself for that.
The Holy Grail you got by sheer... It was the first year of the Holy Grail, right?
Yes.
And, of course, so fucking Mardi Gras nerd, Jeff has to... It's beautiful that he gets one, but you only got it because the person was throwing it, and, it was like Cam Jordan reached up and, deflected it because it hit the power line.
Okay.
And then it just dropped, right in your... So
it was a Mardi Gras miracle.
You got it off a deflection. Yeah, it's still a pick,
I have a better deflection story to tell when we get later on. But yeah, that was the first one of those. The other thing I remember...
It was cheap as fuck, too. They need to work on their grails. It was... They're not going to compete with other
These
signature
bros
throws.
can't craft? Come on.
No, they weren't. It was like a piece of plastic with some shit hot glued to it. It wasn't good. Work on that.
That I remember about that day was I had a conversation with Larry about Chewbacchus. Because this is the night before she had been at Chewbacchus.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, we just skipped over Chewbacchus, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Okay.
And I think that what I can do is I can edit in later the conversation that I had with her because I recorded that out there.
All right, so we're out here with Larry. It's we're waiting on KingArthur to start. It's actually starting in the background right now. But we're talking about Chewbacchus.
Yep.
Apparently, Lance says Chewbacchus was kind of meh, and you were in kind of dispute with him because you guys both went there.
Yes, right. I like Chewbacchus because it is one of those weird neighborhood parades. I enjoyed all the tiny little children. Tiny little humans giving me stuff, looking very confused in their little costumes.
There were a lot of children at Chewbacchus.
Yeah.
People don't know this.
Yeah, people take their children, especially in the beginning. I always go and watch it near the beginning. There's a lot of kids in it, a lot of kids watching. They give you weird little child handmade stuff that you're like, I have no idea what this is, but like some kid did it, and that's cool. I got a Lego Jedi from a little child that was really cool, you know. And it's one of those parades like Krewe du Vieux where you could like talk to the people in the parade and like tell them they look great and. You know.
So one of the complaints that I heard from people was that they don't have a lot of live music.
That's true. Yes.
So there's like a lot of pumped-in music, and some people are kind of like mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
fine.
It's just different, you know. And I mean, it's not the best thing. Like everyone loves to watch to listen to a brass band.
But why do you think Lance is so pissed off at it?
I just don't think I don't know. I also think he watched it on Frenchman. I think that's a big difference than like being up in the neighborhood, you know, surrounded by people with children and the children interacting and
where it's kind of starting out and you can see everything. I hear that parade kind of like it breaks up pretty fast once it gets out there.
Yeah.
And shit gets into it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always have a good time at Chewbacchus. You get weird stuff and people are weird and kids are funny. It's good.
But you booted and rallied from last night. You were. It sounded like you were kind of like, you know, 3 sheets to the wind last night.
Well, yeah, I accidentally drank too much afterwards.
Accidentally.
Yeah, you know when you're drinking Miller Lights and you're like, oh, this one's almost done, I should go home, and then you have like 5 more.
Yeah.
You know how that is. Yeah.
They're hydrating. So.
Yeah. And I said some things I probably shouldn't have said to some people.
That's dramatic.
And then I left my food, tried to cook food on the stovetop and fell asleep and almost burned my house down. But you know, I didn't, so it's a win.
So it sounds like a win to me. Like you see the parade, you get super fucking drunk, you get in some fights with some people, and then you set things on fire. So yeah.
Yeah, Mardi Gras.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Larry.
So she has an opinion about Chewbacchus, and then you had a different opinion about Chewbacchus.
Yes.
And then later on...
And Pat and I skipped it because we thought it was going to rain.
Oh, and there's that fucking weather coming back in.
Yep.
Right.
And we were
always
like, nah, we're going to stay the fuck home.
The weather
it's
is
a
like
marathon,
taking away our guns. It's always being threatened. Never really actually fucking happens.
That's definitely been the story this year.
Well, also we looked at the Chewbacchus route, and it was so much smaller this year, and I thought about what hell it would be to try and park down there, and then we couldn't bike because it was going to rain real bad, and I was like, nah, forget it. Let's not even go.
It was a nice, fun night and everything. It just wasn't that... Well, that's all in the little thing
I'll put
Jeff's
it
going
in,
to play for.
but yeah.
Okay, so we're standing in the middle of Nick's. There's some kind of a gap here, and I'm over here with Lance, and it sounds like we finally got some life into him after a while. You doing all right?
Yeah, my Mardi Gras football team, there's rumors that maybe the quarterback has a lingering shoulder injury, but the coach really isn't talking about it. So
but the important thing is not to tell anyone what's happening.
No, it's a turf shoulder.
Turf shoulder.
Sports
shoulder hernia.
Sports rotator cuff, something like that.
It's something involving sports.
Next question.
And groins. So, Sunday I was talking to Larry, and she had a terrific time at Chewbacchus, where she went on and on about how much fun it was and how the children were having a great time, and I don't know, she was following her muse or whatever the hell she said. I don't remember because
following her muse.
Days ago. It was days ago.
Jesus.
Days ago. But anyway,
I think when I had a conversation with her, she said she did not see a good portion of it.
Oh, she didn't see the parade.
We're gonna have to check our facts here, but I do recall her saying she missed a lot of it. So,
okay.
I mean, maybe the portions that she saw were great, and perhaps. I mean, there was a big, giant, pink Chewbacca. That was cool. Uh-huh. There was a big, shiny float thing. That was cool. But beyond that, there was a lot of second-tier costumes just walking down the street, sort of lackadaisically.
Lackadaisically?
Like with lackadaisical.
Okay.
like, with, you know, just glum, energy, unenergetic.
It was low energy.
It was very low energy.
It was a low T kind of parade.
There was no live music. There was just a bunch of, like, you know, like when you're on Mardi Gras Day and you see like a little crew come by and they have a little cart with a little thing playing music and they roll by. It was just like seeing that over and over again.
Okay.
That's what it was like.
And it was just, so you got tired.
It's my 19th Mardi Gras. I don't want to turn this into a newcomer versus someone who's been here a while thing, but if you've seen enough, you know, foam rubber costumes and duct tape together,
gotcha.
I mean, I sort of looks like a stormtrooper, but not really. So, and it was bad last year, and it had gone downhill from that this year. So
okay, well, the rain started to come down again. Are you feeling all right for the rest of this one, or?
I think I turned a corner.
Turned a corner.
Yeah, I think I'm going to finish strong, and we might just eke out a victory on this. Put us over 500. Got lots of floats coming.
Well,
I was a little bit jubby there for a little bit. I was a little bit off and on, but I'm all right now.
I had more fun, like, kind of gearing up for it. I was hanging out and in the Bywater and drinking Miller Lite drafts, which are so fucking amazing. And then I hit Tisha's friend's house, and he had the flu, and this is going to come up again later.
Okay.
We sat on the couch that he had been convalescing on all day, and I'm pretty sure, well, as we sat down on it, just like, you know, when you've been farting into your work chair all day, and then you go over to the bathroom, and you come back in, and you sit down, and you're like, oh, Jesus, all those farts just came back out. I'm pretty sure when we sat back down that we pushed those flu-like particles into the air.
The flu farts.
Yes, and then my Mardi Gras football team will be affected by that later when we get to it.
Was this by Wednesday? Were you feeling the effects of that already, or
Wednesday morning? I woke up and I had flu-like symptoms, and my Mardi Gras football team was already about. So every year I go through my Mardi Gras season as this. I am a football team trying to play the Super Bowl, and I've won 3 Super Bowls. My franchise is one of my
every day is a win or a
Super
loss,
Bowls.
and then you at the end.
In my 19-year existence of going to Mardi Gras, I've won 3 Super Bowls. So every year I'm gunning for it, and my franchise is like almost a fucking like they're like always in it.
Yeah,
you know but this year they were having a pretty bad year, and plagued with injuries is what I call it, because that Wednesday of Knicks I woke up and I had flu-like symptoms.
You did appear to be fighting through some shit.
That
night, and it didn't help that
it was cold and wet.
Where it was cold and it rained a lot.
And you were wearing, instead of rain gear, you were wearing some type of sequin jacket and sequin beret.
Yes.
You were using costume wear as rain gear.
It was...
Because I picked your ass up, and you were like, I got to shine for these ladies.
Yeah,
or else they're not going to throw me shit.
It was another one of my failed attempts to get more throws. I was like, if I wear this bright ass hoodie, which is a disco ball hoodie, is how you order it online.
Okay.
Then they'll see how shiny I am, and I'll get some throws that way. No, didn't work at all. Didn't get any throws.
They weren't throwing much this year, I think, because of the weather.
They kind of were? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how would that affect it?
I don't know. I think it affects the ladies' enthusiasm to be vigorously throwing things, right?
Well, you got to get rid of everything, right, Jeff?
I don't feel like they weren't throwing that much. I
did think that.
It's hard to know because at Knicks, like, for one thing, it's so goddamn big.
Yeah,
and it's a super crew.
Every person in the city is in it, and everybody's friends are in it. And so if you don't, like, you find somebody who has some stuff and they'll throw you a bunch of shit.
As we did this year.
As we do every year.
Everybody rolled with a purse this year.
Right.
And purses, yeah.
So I don't feel like you can't walk away from that parade going, damn, they weren't throwing anything, because...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. I retract my statement.
It did become a Knicks parade again, as it does every year. It's the self-proclaimed super crew. It's too big for what it is.
It's huge.
It's huge. it got hung up on a tree on Magazine Street. It ran into a power line or something.
Yes.
And it was delayed for a long time because of that. And then, partially because of that and the gap in the parade that resulted from that, and also because of the weather being kind of cold and wet, the rest of the parade was just shit going real fast to...
They were definitely hauling ass.
Get through it.
I mean, it was pouring also through Druids, too. Remember Druids?
Right,
Ugh.
Druids precedes it and is always, just they do the obligatory racism or whatever. And
y'all just sat there and hated on it the entire time.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't that bad this year.
I'm just always...
I can't remember.
They just annoy me.
I didn't think it was that bad either, but the way y'all... I could tell that y'all were in like y'all were doing a ritual where you sat and just... We're going to hate on this thing now. And I was like, well, that one actually was making fun of Trump. And then Jeff was like, no, it's because they're the never-Trumpers, man. They're the never-Trumpers. And then y'all would both like lay into them. I was like, I mean, I'm not defending them, but it does feel a little cliche that y'all are...
I remember that they weren't, they weren't that bad this year. They had a monument float, but then so did Chaos, and then so did they Thoth.
Oh, they had. Talk about lost causes.
They had one that was just... bagging on the fact that they couldn't make the loop on Canal Street, which, is fine. But it's the only two things I remember. That
do you think that's fine?
No, I think it's fine that they said that.
Oh.
And I'll get... Actually, this is a good time to talk about this, because the city cracked down on the parade route this year. They shortened it on Canal Street. They all have to turn right when they get to Canal and not make the long loop. And the other rule that they made was that they can't have as many marching clubs, and they can't stage more than one between two floats.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, a lot of the marching clubs couldn't march in as many parades as they usually do. And it affects the larger parades like Nick's, where you have 1,000 double-decker floats in a row. And if you can't stage things between them or break up the flow or have a few bands or just do something different...
It becomes
just a truck parade.
Yeah, overstimulation.
Yeah, in just giant float, giant float, giant float. And in the rain, in the cold, giant float going 40 miles an hour down St. Charles.
There was a moment when it was probably the dancing crew's worst moment for me, where at Nick's, 2 or 3 of those big fucking scenic cruisers... Ignatius Riley's scenic cruiser floats went by, and they were just like, and then I was like, it's over. And then I kind of looked, and I saw down the little trench, there was this pitiful, I don't even remember what marching crew it was, but I had never heard of them before. They weren't dancing very well. They were very wet, clearly miserable, and slow as fuck. And I was just like, these guys are gonna fucking spoil it for the rest of them, because they're fucking pitiful. And they kind of sauntered on by, and then behind them was more truck parade shit, And I was like, I kind of see their point here. Maybe these guys, maybe they need to vet these guys. Keep your Elvi and your camel toe steppers and everything. And
I'm trying to remember if I saw a new one this year or not.
Why would you start a new one at this point?
Because it's a point of entry to being in the parade. Where if you don't want to,
you would just become an Amelia Earhart or something if you wanted to do that.
Some of them are really hard to join. The Sirens have a really difficult audition, and a really they're not all just open entry.
I think Rising Tide presenter Holly Sheeb is a siren. Well, if you make a funny reference to a woman's vagina, apparently is one way to form one. You got to take some sort of euphemism for it,
right?
The hatchet wounders or something like that, and then
I would totally join the hatchet wounders. Hell yeah!
Y'all all walk around axe murderers or something.
Yeah,
like
with
that.
Sexy flannel or something.
Fuck it, let's start one.
All right,
and we'll all be movie murderers, and we'll call ourselves the hatchet.
You will wear hockey masks.
Or a little glove with a sweater or whatever, Well, I guess you need a hatchet.
Yeah.
Or Paul Bunyan, is that where you were going with the flannel?
I was just thinking like lumberjack shit.
Somebody would cut, yeah.
Yeah.
But it would seem like it would be a dumb thing to do now.
Yes.
You know, it would be like starting a Lumineers type band or something. It's just like, that shit's done, man. Or starting like a gourmet burger place. It's
Right.
like, don't do that. It's,
Yeah, we've kind of, you know,
it's over.
Saturated with those.
Yeah, you're 2013.
Yeah, so there's got to be, like, what's the next innovation now? Like, what is the new way to do something new at a Mardi Gras parade?
Well, I'll tell you something that I think that the crews that aren't on the big weekend, and even some of the ones that are, need to work on, and that's improving their themes and their float quality. Like, I think that the main difference for me between Nyx and Muses is that Muses just kills it on their floats.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are beautiful, the themes are great, they're witty, and Nyx just has so many people that they can't do a lot more than just have floats with a bunch of flowers on them, you know, and then they do their headdresses and stuff. But it's that the difference in float quality, I think, is really what makes the like my favorite parades. Like my consistent favorites are always Muses and Orpheus, and that's really what makes those stand out is the quality of their floats.
Indeed.
What was Muses? Oh, Muses this year was Night at the Museum.
Night at the Museum, yeah.
Oh, and they were really
with all
good.
this art history puns and stuff. It was so good.
That's
the best theme I think they've ever done.
That was really good.
It's the best one I've seen.
I like to hear that they were candy bars too. That was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one thing they did this year with their floats, and this is what drew me out, even though I woke up that morning going, I'm taking the night off so I can make it through the rest of the Mardi Gras. But then I looked in the fucking paper and I saw that they were doing these art history floats and that they were sort of ditching that comic book kind of aesthetic that they had since I had been watching the parade. And then I had seen a couple previews of the floats and they were just so drastically different than what they had done in previous years. And it was art history, and, you know, some say I'm an artist, so I'm like, okay, fuck, I gotta get out there. I gotta see this shit. And they had a new float that was pretty badass.
Oh my god, the goddessy.
Yeah,
that was one of the rare things I think that was just as spectacular as it was billed to be. You know,
it was maybe even more so.
Seeing it in person, it exceeded the hype, which is crazy. Because I saw pictures of it and I was like, oh my god, this is great. And then I saw it coming down the street. And I was like looking at it like I was a little kid. I mean, it was just, for me, Mardi Gras is all about the spectacle. And this is what I was going to tell that reporter if I had gotten the chance, is that, you know, for Mardi Gras to work, everyone has to be there to appreciate the spectacle. And it's not about like necessarily your personal comfort or like your little territory that you
having
roped
your
off,
grill out
having
there.
your own shit, you know, just the way you want it. It is a public spectacle, and for it to work, you have to be there to appreciate the whole, like all of it.
Right.
And you got to do it with the people that you're there, you know, that you're around. Like there's just a certain give and take that has to happen, but it's not necessarily about getting a particular thing off the float or seeing, you know, you can't get lost in the details.
Right.
The details are enjoyable, but the spectacle is the thing for me.
It's about being there.
Yeah.
And there are little surprising ways in which that, you know, that happens to you while you're there. And if everybody is kind of like boxing each other out, that's not conducive to that kind of experience.
Right. You can't be entertained and let like beautiful things surprise you and wash over you if you're constantly worried about like
who's encroaching on your space, or somebody needs to walk through your space, giving them a fucking hairy eyeball or something like that.
One of the floats was the girl with the one plug earring, 6 tattoos, 14 piercings, and a nose ring.
Yeah, it was the Vermeer, and she had a tattoo that said Dutch Life. I was like, that's my float.
And that's hilarious to see that. Right?
Yeah.
But another thing that we saw during Muses was one of the horses took a big crap in the middle of the road. And a couple of the bands that followed, we noticed some of the bands have assigned a person to find the horse crap in the road and guide the rest of the band around it as they move by. And some of the bands don't do that.
Yeah.
So we watched, some of the bands that had a horse poo guy, and some of the bands...
A poop smith?
Yes. And some of them who don't...
No, the poop smith is coming.
Right. Some of them have a poo guy who, warns them around it, and some of them don't, and so they get their feet full of horse shit.
And then we saw the poop cop. The cop did it for a while.
Cop did it for a while. And then...
So the hero we needed emerged.
So... out of nowhere comes a dude on rollerblades with a shovel and just shovels that shit up and then takes off into the night. And
no one knows where he came from or where he went.
We don't know. I mean, there's probably a plan to it, but we didn't know.
He might just be a volunteer, Just the guy out there who sees a need.
The poop smith,
like a pooper hero,
right? But so when you talk about this,
he's a pooper hero, Jeff.
Yes,
that's funny.
Yes.
No, he was the poop smith.
He's pooper man.
But that's when you talk about the spectacle of it. There's the spectacle, and then there's the little things,
rando shit,
and you have to be there to see all of it and participate in all of it and to be open to all of it.
Also, on Friday night when the shipwrecked, right?
Oh, Jesus! I'm so sorry I missed that. That seemed like it was the second funnest night.
Is that everything from Muses night that you wanted to talk about, or do you want to move into...
Chaos was horrible. Chaos was really racist.
It wasn't as funny as it usually is.
Allie says, horribly racist. Jeff, not as funny as it usually is.
Because sometimes they mix it up and, you can... I mean, the good thing is it's good to see what these people think out in the open. Because we all know who these people are. We know who's on Chaos, and Krewe du Vieux. It's the elite. It's the rich guys. And they're horrible, but they... once a year they throw a parade to tell everyone what they think of all the things that are happening. And sometimes some of it's kind of funny, but mostly it's just it's really irritating.
Right.
But it's good to know. It's good to keep a pulse on it.
They're putting it out there. They're not underhandedly doing it. They're it's the joy of Mardi Gras is that they get to be themselves, and who they are are assholes.
I mean, I wouldn't call it joyful. I think it's useful. I don't certainly derive any joy out of seeing it.
I find usefulness joyful.
Well, sometimes
if it's logical, then I get a big kick out of it.
It's a giant pageant of what is happening in the city. It's and everyone has to kind of deal with who is who and who is what, and sometimes that's upsetting, and sometimes it's liberating in a way, and sometimes it's there's potential for it's kind of like a heightening of the contradictions. You can kind of see what who's what and what the stakes and everything are if you really want to go back and think about it. Although a lot of the time everybody's just kind of just involved in a catharsis at that moment. So there are competing ideas as to whether it is constructive politically or if it's just a reinforcement of stratification politically. But I think
very few people really even bother noticing. It's probably about 10% of the people even bother.
I disagree with that. I think that...
of course, well, you're so deep into the nerddom, you can't even see what it's like not to be one. Though.
I think that even if you aren't deep into it, you on some subconscious level you're getting it.
On some subconscious level. I didn't know we were talking about subconscious level. I'm going to use that a lot. We didn't talk about a couple things with Nix and Muses where there was two little kids there that were friends of your wife's, and it was their first Mardi Gras ever.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And that was nice. I was about their age when my parents brought me to my first Mardi Gras. I want to say it didn't seem so off the hook. I mean, it was 84 or something. Mm-hmm. So I have vague memories of it. But I want to say it was that KingArthur Carrollton weekend. And I was just drawing little fleur-de-lis on my notebook at school when I got home. I was just so fucking enamored with the whole thing. So it was cool to be there with, kids around that age. And they were hanging tough. it was that rainy night for Nick's, and I was like, it's not always like this, but you see we're out here and we're grown-ass adults, so it must be pretty fucking cool, right? And then also at fucking Muses, Allie fucking got like 3 honest shoes.
I did, because I brought a sign and it worked.
It did work, and then when I...
My sign was really good.
Full disclosure, I saw a sign, I was like, that ain't getting shit. I was like, I don't even understand it myself. They ain't gonna get it.
I didn't trust it myself. Wait, you didn't get it?
Like, I didn't understand what space had to do with the parade. Like, I understood that...
It was just a pun.
Yeah, it was just a pun, but it didn't tie into Muses. But apparently it didn't fucking matter. The Muses were...
Well, I drew the astronaut with the Muses logo and the stiletto shoes on.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have expected a better pun or something. Or one that like actually tied into the crew somehow.
Well, it
didn't matter.
I was inspired by a lady I follow on Twitter who was live tweeting her process for making shoes. Susan Whelan, and I think she's on Twitter as Nola Maven. I think. Yeah. But she had made these gorgeous shoes that were galaxy themed, and they were like she had used black glitter, and then she had these like purple and like these dark jewel tone glitter to make it look cosmic and stuff, and so that's why I was.
You were hoping to get one of those, maybe.
I was thinking of that. I thought, I'll make a space or galaxy themed sign, to see if I can get her attention.
Okay, well that makes more sense.
I didn't ended up being able to find her. But
didn't fucking matter.
But that's okay. I got inspired by the sign, and I was inspired by the parade, and I thought it worked out great.
You kept getting shoes.
I got 3, yeah.
And you gave one of them away to the little girl that was with us, who was her first Mardi Gras.
I did. You're right. This was my favorite moment of Mardi Gras, and I can't believe I didn't even tell her.
Oh, her face lit up.
The way her face lit up.
Yeah, I caught that. Yeah,
that was that just was amazing.
I think that's really cool. I took her down to see LaToya.
Yeah.
Because the parade stopped and LaToya was stopped near us.
You were so extra trying to get her attention.
And we ran down there, and I screamed at LaToya for like 10 minutes.
You did.
It was like, LaToya! You gotta fix these streets, LaToya! The parade can't get through! She was not paying me any attention.
It was still our problem, but it was gunshots instead. It was crime instead of infrastructure.
Something like that.
But it doesn't matter. It's all her fault anyway. So
right. And then I brought one of the kids with me, and I was like, LaToya, look at this little girl. Look at this side. LaToya.
Which is fucking brilliant, because you always use the kids as pawns in your political.
That's right.
Yeah.
She again didn't look at me. I had my camera out and aimed it at her, and she looked right at the camera and gave me a big old smile, and I took a picture. I put the camera away, and then went back to yelling. Nothing. Just act like I wasn't there.
Maybe she was only throwing to women.
No, and I'll tell you, I screamed. The other thing I told her is that I know where she's got them shoes.
That's fucking brilliant. It's funnier than Allie's sign.
People standing next to me. People standing next to me are like, "No, dude, she doesn't have shoes on that foot. She doesn't have any shoes." I'm like, "She's got shoes. LaToya, you got shoes. Give me a shoe."
You got shoes on them feet.
She wouldn't.
They're on that float.
So anyway, some dude walks up. Very official.
So you're being admonished by the crowd too. So they're like, this dumbass doesn't know there's no shoes on the shoe float.
Right. So a guy walks up.
She got Garrett Hartley shoes on that float.
Stands in front of her and waves, and she recognizes him. So he's some guy she knows. Waves, little smileys. Passes down a fucking shoe to the guy. And he walks up. I'm like, motherfucker got a shoe? I can't get shit from this mayor. I already hate
and there was some discussion. There was some discussion in which I was like, "You thought that she would recognize you."
No.
Well, then maybe it was Chris I was having the conversation with.
Yeah, maybe it was.
Because I was like, "Nah, she don't know Jeff from Shinola."
I mean, did you yell, "I'm that guy from the internet"?
No.
You held up your little Twitter avatar and that motherfucker.
I have a mildly successful podcast.
It doesn't sound like something I would do.
I like that you gave him credit as being a part of the Hunker Downcast and not 6,000 follower dude on Twitter and only remaining NOLA blogger. Last Jedi of the NOLA blog. Luke Skywalker of the NOLA bloggers.
Anyway.
Sorry. Did you update your blog today?
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote something about Windy Vitter today.
Oh, shit.
You mean
you're milking alien boobs on the fucking island. So those two things. Okay, we can maybe finally move on from.
I can't believe you thought that my sign wasn't.
Obviously, I was wrong.
Man. Wow.
It doesn't really matter what I think because you. And I'll clarify it for Tim and them. When you get a signature throw, what I call honest, means you don't know somebody on the float and they hand it to you. You don't say it's not neutral ground side float fucking 72 if it's Nick's shit like that. It's like you're just sitting there, you say something, they see a look in your eyes and they toss you a purse or a shoe. We won't even count Holy Grails or a coconut. So that's what I mean by honest. And you got all three of your shoes honest, huh?
I did.
Yeah, you were hitting a lick that night. You were in the zone.
Wednesday night was jambalaya night. Thursday night was enchilada night.
Friday night was the roast beef.
Friday night was the roast beef po' boys. I make these little roast.
I don't even eat any of that.
Manufactured debris, kind of, that I make. And then we just put them on little po' boy sandwiches.
Also Wednesday night, Rosalind... Pat and Allie gave Rosalind and I a ride home, and it was kind of like being taken home by your parents because they were a couple and they were shushing us and telling us to calm down and not to let the not to swig out of the vodka where you might be seen by police. And me and Rosalind were just
when I was a kid
yelling at each other and like being real loud and stupid and stuff, and we really kind of just conned our way into the car anyways because neither of us wanted to take Ubers.
Right.
And we were like, they're not gonna say no. What are they gonna? So that was a fun little trip home. And Rosalind seems convinced that you cannot have ham in gumbo, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that was the gumbo.
So it started. The conversation started here. And
no, I heard about this conversation
because I was texting Jeff while it was happening
about the ham and the gumbo. Oh, that's a whole other thing.
I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can the point of gumbo is you can throw whatever the fuck you want in there.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
You know, you open up the fridge and you're like, shit, what do I got? You just start throwing a bunch of shit in there, right?
Right.
Could be anything. Green peppers.
That's right.
Cauliflower.
There's
whatever.
Family we used to know from Gonzales used to make something they called creature gumbo. It was whatever they went out in the backyard and shot, like squirrels and like robins and whatever.
Oh,
the creatures
fuck
were.
Yeah. Robins?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Right. So you didn't know what it was.
Songbird gumbo? Jesus.
It's the creatures.
You picked such a beautiful bird, too. Not like a pigeon or anything.
Right.
They're called squab, okay?
It's like that's like any bird that you can eat.
Yeah.
Any small bird that you can eat.
Squab.
All right, well, let's move on from mixing. And then on
so
Friday night is when the shipwreck happened, and it happened right fucking in front of you, right?
Yeah. Friday night's D'état, and I don't know if you remember this, but D'état also had an art theme. It was the Dictator's Museum of Art, and their floats were better than the Chaos floats. I can't remember what... I think... Oh, there was one of a naked LaToya. It was the Birth of Venus, but it was LaToya.
Whoa.
With she was basically nude and holding credit cards over her parts. And then there's this float was really stupid because it glorified Jeff Landry as like the person who was going to save us from that. Yeah.
They had one called The Curators with Henri Schindler on the front of it.
They did
was
that.
Great.
They had one that was Michelangelo, and of his, about statues, obviously.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
This is the second Mardi Gras since the statues, right?
At least. I remember last year seeing statue floats going, can't these people get over the fucking statues?
Oh, Jesus. It's going to be a while.
Yeah.
They also had one called American Gothic. I can't even tell. It was a guy in a Trump hat with a pitchfork, and then a lady with a black bandana over her face and a can of spray paint in her hand.
Oh, she was like a black block or
like
something.
Antifa type thing. And then there was one called Landrew Crossing Canal Boulevard, which was like Washington crossing the Delaware, but it was Landrew with his tricentennial stuff.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was all right.
Data is always a little bit funnier than Chaos, but they're still kind of obnoxious. Anyway, so the Dictator's Navy comes up. The Dictator's Navy is a big boat-themed float.
All right.
And it is having trouble as it's coming up.
You can look at it and see.
Yeah, it's listing. And
it's taking on water.
Yeah, and it's pulls over to the side, and you can see them like just pull all the way off of St. Charles, and they go on to 3rd Street, and the whole boat just
it beats its shipwreck. It beaches itself.
Right, like the thing is just there.
It's run aground.
And
let's try and use as many maritime words and phrases as we can as we describe this.
Right. So then everyone has to abandon ship.
Maritime is also a use. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All of the crew has to abandon ship, and they
women and children first.
Right.
But they don't let them in Krewe du Vieux anyway. So.
Right. So they're out milling about on this like broken down float, and
treading water.
Pretty much, they're just in the.
So does the parade at any point go? Maybe they're going to get it fixed, or as soon as they go off the route, they're like, "Hey, you're done."
Yeah, well, we were trying to figure out what was going to happen. Like,
so the parade is stopped.
Sometimes they need to change tractors. Sometimes they need to change a tire. And,
sure, it happens all the time.
And in this case, they just abandon the ship.
They abandoned ship. Okay.
They just let it go.
They scuttled the vessel.
Everybody got off, and they stood there for a while, and then they just started walking. Like the whole group just walked down the street.
Okay, they're in their lifeboats and they're going on down.
And the parade just kind of came on behind.
So I wonder at any point in like Parade Central, is there a walkie-talkie or a phone? Like who makes that decision? We're leaving it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes they have like spare tires and stuff that they can go and put on. Or
okay.
Sometimes, but I think this one like broke an axle or something. Like it was really bad.
I had heard that's what it was. Although it seems weird that a boat would have an axle.
But yeah, weird.
Seems like so. Is there a guy like in charge of the parade? Like one dude who, when they're like, "Hey, what happened?" "Well, we're broke down. Do you think you can fix it?" "No, I don't." "Okay, well, roll. Then the parade needs to keep rolling, or give us 10 minutes and we'll get it fixed."
Most crews have a captain who's basically in charge of all their.
Is this some guy on a float getting fucked up though?
Sometimes it is, but I think a lot of the time, no, they have to be in charge.
Who's their emergency contact?
Right, like this guy's too fucked up to make a decision. Like,
oh, excuse
you never leave a man behind. We're not leaving him.
Going down with the ship.
Excuse me, I have power of attorney for Krewe du Vieux, and I say this float stays.
So no one stays with the boat.
No,
everybody leaves.
They were gone.
Adrift.
It was nobody there except just the cops, on the corner, and they had to stand in front of it to keep random people from boarding.
Sure, because it would seem like it.
Yeah.
The kids.
I would want to go on that thing.
Yeah.
Once they see no one's there.
Yeah, it gets swarmed by children.
The kids, it's like a playground for them.
And somewhere, standing silently in the dark, watching and waiting, the poopsmith.
So there are sandwiches and their little fucking Kickapoo Joy Juice, tiny little bottles, and all that shit's on the fucking thing, huh?
Left their shit there, right? And a lot goes to their throws, I guess.
So many Jello
tabs
shots.
of ecstasy, maybe.
Yeah. My favorite part was that. That was kind of towards the end of Data, and then Morpheus is coming behind it. And one of the first units in Morpheus is the Coast Guard. and there they go. They go by it, and we're like, look at the fucking boat!
Get your boat!
This is what y'all do.
Right.
But y'all don't get to do much, but you can do this.
Isn't this your job?
They didn't give a shit.
Also, thank you for everything you did during Katrina. We know you all were the heroes there, but
they didn't give a shit. So
no, fucking. Since I wasn't there, can I live vicariously through you? How was Hermes? It's one I need to get back and see that.
It's always one of the prettiest ones. I can't remember what the theme was this year. I don't know if I had many pictures to look up right now.
I need to get out and see that again.
Friday
That night, I was
was
supposed to see the crew of Ragnarok, who I did the Chewbacchus thing with a few years back, and they had a dance floor that they made, a roving dance floor, and they apparently Friday night in the Bywater, and somebody can correct me on this if I'm wrong, is beginning to be rogue crew night. So they're like, people take their little maybe remnant Chewbacchus fucking floats for all I know, or maybe that they're also it might be there's probably one that does their Chewbacchus thing, takes it out on this Friday night, and also on Mardi Gras Day.
Okay,
but it's that type of thing. They did that night, and the flu was really hitting me hard that night, and I even thought for a short moment, oh, this thing's escalating, and I'm about to be really fucked. But I didn't. I made it, but then my football team started losing pretty bad. That was a pretty bad loss that night. Because I went in, I drank 1 Miller Lite at the bar waiting for him, and I was like, I gotta go. I feel like fucking shit. So, but if I'd have come uptown, I would have seen all that shit.
No, that was something to see. It was pretty good, and that was the night. That was one of the 2 nights this year that we stayed afterward to watch the trash cleanup, which is always a fun thing for us to do because it's as big a spectacle as anything else. As you watch the guys come by with the rakes.
It's got to be a little cathartic.
They're a unit, and then behind them are like the sweeper trucks, and then behind them is a truck that sprays everything with the lemon scent.
Yeah, it kills everything.
It does,
and smells great.
And then behind that is the little like the backhoes or whatever that like push it all into a pile. And they scoop it all into a dump truck. It's a whole process.
And you're just like, wow, that's fucking these guys. It comes from traditions. You know, they learned how to do this years ago, and they've just developed it over and over.
It's amazing.
They've got a system.
It's another parade. We brought the kids out to watch it, and we're like waiting for it to come. We're standing in a neutral ground in the middle of all the trash, and there's a box of uneaten chicken, like just some leftover chicken. And it's just sitting there, and one of the kids is so sad. Oh, they wasted all this chicken, and we're stopping to think of it. And then his sister looks at him and goes, "We have to honor this bird."
It's like Thanksgiving.
It's like it's just a rite of growing up.
I guess it is. It's like we didn't bury it in the yard or anything, but we did. We had to stand there for a moment and honor the bird that gave its life that nobody even appreciated. Because
Respect.
Yeah, those are smart kids.
And then the trash, crew came and picked it all up. It was a beautiful thing.
I think this year more than ever, it may have been the 8,000 tons of shit that they pulled out of the drains, but this year more than ever, and every year more and more, it is a little weirding me out about all the fucking waste. Mm-hmm. And just how. Like, back in the day, I know, like, most of the beads I catch now, like, in the 90s when I was coming here, any one of those beads would have been fucking a big fucking deal. Like, I'll be able to hold them and, like, look how big they are. And now they come out every fucking float,
The quality, they're all the high-quality beads now. Like, you don't... Everything you catch is
it's not like like I would get like a dime size bead back in the day and be like, I'm taking these to Bourbon Street. It was a big deal. Now every last one of them is like that. And then I've also noticed like, I would come and throw all my shit and put it in a pile now, but now the only reason why I fucking try and go for throws is just for the fucking catch. And then as soon as I catch it and I get that tiny little endorphin rush, like I caught a football or something like that, then I just immediately find that kid there that's got the fucking pile of the shit and give it to him.
Because it matters to them for a while still.
It matters to them, and all that matters to me is that kind of athletic kind of moment where you reach up and grab it,
Yeah.
I catch them to avoid getting hit in the head with them.
I noticed they were less bags this year.
Yeah.
Too. It's a smarter Mardi Gras. It's Smarty Gras.
Well, I read a couple things that one, it was a 1,200 ton carnival this year in terms of trash picked up, which is
so much
higher than average, but not quite as big as it has been in the past. The other thing that's happened in recent years is the recycling has really amped up. I've now gotten rid of all of the beads that we caught. They're all gone into the ARC recycling, and they get. I think more people do this now. Is they take them to get recycled, and they get sorted, and then they get repurchased again every year. So I don't know.
And every now and then you'll catch a Bacchus bead at a KingArthur parade or something like that.
That definitely happens more than it used to.
At St. Chaddy's Day, definitely you see some Muses beads in the St. Chaddy's Day parade.
But I think it's good. Like it makes me feel like you guys are starting to feel worse about it. I feel a little bit better about it. Like, oh yeah, well, this will get used again next year.
So you went through that 3 or 4 years ago, and now you're kind of on the what can we do about this?
Maybe, yeah. I kind of feel like it's getting a little bit better. I am starting to come around to the thinking where we probably don't need as many beads,
totally.
at all.
We definitely need less beads,
and there are people
fewer beads.
There are.
Thank you, Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah, there are all these little movements to have more environmentally friendly throws and stuff like that, which is fine. I think that
throws you can use.
It's too many beads.
I saw a little bit less throws you can use this year, but every time I get a throw you can use, I'm like, fucking right.
Yeah.
I got a little pad and pencil.
Yep.
I got a little thing I can stick my credit cards in and attach it to my phone. Not that I'm going to do that, but if I want to, I can. The Muses socks that they were throwing last year that I didn't see any of this year were fucking brilliant, and I used when it was super cold so much.
Yeah, I love practical throws.
Throws you can use, y'all.
Muses threw bandanas one year. I've used them for probably 10 years now. I mean, those bandanas last forever. I love the practical throws, man. They're
light
so
up
good.
throws we use as lights on our bikes so we don't die. Frisbees.
Oh man, they
play with them.
Should throw actual bike lights. That'd be a great throw.
Throw all kinds of, they like the moon pies at least.
Yeah.
You can open that motherfucker up and eat it right then and there.
I did
it. We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
There was an orange one of us caught.
So let's move on to the next thing.
Saturday. Well, you saw a guy, a video that should be viral.
Okay, yeah. So 2 things happened Saturday that were really great. So that was what was that? Irish and Tux and
Endymion.
Yeah, and Endymion.
I'll get to that in a second.
There was some weather problems with that.
So let me talk about the Irish and Tux stuff, and then we'll get into Endymion. Irish has gotten to be better and better in my opinion. It just feels bigger than it used to.
I have some friends who ride in it and they have a great time.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
They always appear. Everybody seems to be having fun.
Yeah,
they throw a lot, and their floats always look good. Like I used to not think about them so much, but now I kind of it's fun to go to Irish. And Tux is like it's that point in the season where like you're all starting to get a little bit overwhelmed with stuff, and you're looking forward to Sunday, and you're not thinking about it. But Tux is sneakily probably the best parade in some ways. Like it's always like everybody's really chill at it. They have a lot of the loose little marching groups that are fun. The dragons and stuff that you don't see in the other parades.
Oh, nice.
And they throw a ton and they're fun. Anyway, so those are fun parades to see. The funniest thing that happened that day though was something that actually happened to Larry. And she told me the story about it. We're standing out there, and there's some guys standing across the street from us in Falcons jerseys. And Larry goes across the street with one of the kids that were with us, and a plunger gets thrown because they throw those plungers.
That's their signature throw.
Yes. It goes on the ground, and one of the guys goes to pick it up, and the little girl takes it. And
which is fair.
Yeah, but it was a little bit. It really wasn't hers. It was really for the guy, but she took it anyway. And Larry,
still fair.
Larry takes the girl aside and says to her, "Listen, you're not supposed to get in people's way and take their shit unless they're wearing those Falcons jerseys, and then you can do whatever you want." And she's like, "Okay, you can have it." And so she gives Larry the plunger. So Larry goes back over to me, and she shows me the plunger. She goes, "This is a plunger that was stolen from a Falcons fan by a child. This is my favorite thing that I got all year.
And now that child knows.
Yes.
That those guys who have that little symbol, just like we all learned about the swastika when we were young.
Oh my God.
That the guys that have that symbol are the bad guys.
Okay, I didn't know you were going to go that direction with it, but okay, sure. The other thing that happened that day...
Well, they are the bad guys. Are you being sympathetic towards Falcons now? Or
Never.
I mean, well, it sounded like there for a minute there you wouldn't... you were kind of... When I compared them to Nazis...
Like, I mean, apart from Arthur Blank...
Well, there's good or bad, man. There's good or bad,
man.
man. It's just...
Okay.
It's 50-50. You're either all good or you're all bad, man.
I didn't realize that.
Even Morton Anderson, he became a Nazi for a little while. That I bet you that logo, that Falcons logo, you could fucking transpose it over a swastika, and they probably would.
It almost lends itself to that.
It's the red and white and the black.
Yeah,
I might be onto something. What else happened that day, Jeff?
All right, so later that day, that's the day where it ends kind of early uptown, and you can go back and just kind of sit on the corner with no other parades coming or anything like that. And you can just watch the chaos kind of unravel, it's almost like it is on Mardi Gras Day out here after Rex goes by. And that's fun to do. And we're sitting out there, and I look out on Carondelet Street, and this car comes by. It's just driving down the street kind of slowly, and on the back right wheel, there's a boot. Like the boot isn't like it's cocked up a little bit, like it wasn't put on right, so it allows it.
I do want to get into the logistics of what must have happened.
I don't know. Like I saw that go out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, look at that! No, so
it was a defiant. It was the people won.
I think so.
What I understand about boots is that if you could drive on them, like you can just call the like obviously he's going to have to get the motherfucker taken off, right? But in the end, the boot is the property of I don't know whoever. I don't know if they contracted out or
the
whatever.
People.
So if he just wanted to get a new, you can take your tire off, and once you take your tire off, the boot's still attached. I think it's attached to the tire. Okay. And if you take your tire off, all you need is a new tire. Yeah. And then you can just call the city and be like, come get your boot. I paid my shit. And then, because they get you by going, you can't move your car. Right. So I need this taken off. And then we're like, okay, well, we'll come take it off for you for the fines that you owe, plus a service fee for taking this shit off, right? But if you just tell them, hey, your boot's here, you can have it back. There's a tire attached to it. Fuck off, right? That there's nothing that they can do about it. There's a couple stories online about people who have moved their cars not as ingenious as this gentleman did.
I don't know if it's genius or not because
he gave it a shot. Like most people will just walk up, look at the boot, and go, "I'm fucked." Right. They just trust that you're not going to be able to drive. But this guy was like, he was a critical thinker, obviously. He
said, what's interesting about it is that
he's a visual guy.
Yeah, does this work?
So wait a minute.
Let's just give this the old college try. Does anybody do that?
After we saw him, he pulled over and got out of the car and looked at it. So I think what happened was he didn't even know it was there. So when he
was less of a critical thinker, but still cool.
Well, so he got out of the car, examined it, got on the phone. I don't know who he was talking to, or what. Got off the phone.
A confidant.
Right. Got back in the car, and then drove away.
So he got out, saw it, said, hey, what do I do to his homie or somebody, his wife or somebody? And they were like, well, if the car's rolling, come the fuck home, and stop by the store or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know how smart that is. I heard from people I talked to afterward that it's a fluke that he's able to drive it
because I think they put it on wrong.
They put it on wrong.
So I think that the little front part of the boot that he had going towards the back of the car, that's supposed to be going towards the front of the car, so that when you drive, it hits the ground and it hits the wheel of the car and it just stops it, so you can't go. So whoever installed that fucker installed it wrong. Probably because they were like, once they see it, they're gonna know they can't drive their car. Yeah, it's on wrong, but they're not gonna try and drive it.
That could be. But my concern is that it's in a position that it could fall out of while he's driving, and then immobilize the car while he's driving it, and just fuck everything up.
I'd drive slow if I was him, but if he's only going a few blocks,
maybe, hopefully. I don't know.
Then all he's got to do is get one new tire, and then he's cool on those fines.
All right.
Well, Saturday, the other thing that happened Saturday was we had our annual Endymion house party.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was great. You know, we've got it pretty well down to a routine, you know. We decorate the whole house with, like, all the beads and purses and shoes, like, all of our stuff. And
which there is a lot by that.
There is a lot, and I keep, like, a big old Rubbermaid container of stuff that, like, is the decorating beads, you know. So haul that all out, and we clean the whole place. I made a big pot of Brunswick stew, as I do every year. And we set out a bunch of food. Our upstairs neighbors co-hosted it with us, Brian and Carrie. They got a pony keg, like the smaller keg, of that Paradise Park beer from Urban South.
Okay.
It's really good.
I haven't had it.
God bless that Urban South.
Man, it's just, like, it's not like anything spectacular, but it's just a nice, easy to drink beer.
They need to sponsor the Hunker Downcast.
I'll keep singing their praises, although I still maintain that it's a stupid name. Something happened this year which hadn't happened before, and that's that at the end of the night, we had no food left at all. Everyone had, like, people came by all day. People went out to the parade, but then it rained later. Things got a little fuzzy for me. But we always have leftovers from this party. But we floated the keg, and we ran out of food. Wow. And I didn't know whether to take that as a sign of success or a sign that I had totally failed as a host. Because I was like, what if people are still hungry? What if people, like, holy shit. And also, we usually eat this stew for like 3 more days.
Yeah,
what am I going to eat for the next 3 days?
Now you got to run the houses the next day.
I didn't prepare for this. So it was a little bizarre.
It's definitely a success when everything's gone.
Okay.
That means you gave them all you had, and they took it all, and everything was all good.
I mean, we had, like, hot dogs going. Like, people ate everything.
A couple of the oyster parties were like that, where the keg was floated, and that's a whole keg we used to do.
Yeah.
All the oysters were gone. Everything was gone.
I take that as a sign that it was money well invested.
Fucking right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go to the parade?
I went for a little bit. Yeah. I missed Alvin Kamara and Marshawn Lattimore, and so I missed the part where because I think they got off the float, like, right around my corner.
Kamara loves being in the people.
But I saw that they did it more than once. They got down and high-fived everybody.
Yeah, I don't know where they did it, but I missed that part. I never. We don't do the party because we love the parade. We do it because it's 2 blocks from our house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that. I mean, what's to love?
It's not my favorite parade. I feel like they hired, the best LED technician money could buy and said, hey, put these on our floats, and then called it a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really they got fancy lighting, and that's about it.
I haven't seen Endymion in, I want to say, 5 years, probably.
And then that year, I bet it rolled uptown.
No, but
you went to Mid-City
this year.
It did,
because that's another thing that
it almost rolled in Jefferson fucking Parish this year.
It did.
So
it's future home. I mean, it's got to be.
It's like when as soon as that happened, I was like, this makes perfect sense.
One of these days, they're going to do it.
They have
because
to.
Jefferson Parish is going to pay them to do it, and they are going to not be able to say no to that money.
And it's going to be, it all will be right.
Yeah.
in the universe.
It'll make sense.
That's not going to happen. Yeah,
maybe Jefferson Parish will annex the half of the when the eventual Jefferson Parish takeover of Lakeview and Mid-City happens. It's not that the parade's going to move to Jefferson Parish.
I don't think that's going to happen without some kind of like an armed invasion. Like there's going to be.
Yeah, well, shit happens these days, man.
I know it gets crazy. Yeah, this was another like fallout of the weather constantly being on everybody's mind.
Mhm.
Just like, there were these conversations about whether or not Krewe du Vieux could move to Sunday. There was a point where all of the parades scheduled to run the second weekend were freaking out about the weather, and Endymion especially wanted to move to Sunday or move even to Friday. They were talking about
Jesus.
Yeah, and any of those moves would have involved, for some reason, going uptown.
Because they're always trying to get them to go uptown. Yeah. It's cheaper and easier for the cops.
And it just, oh my God, what a mess it is.
Well, you never want to move it up, because if you move it up, then that night when it doesn't rain, you just got a bunch of people sitting there going, we gotta fucking... Right. Always move it back. Because then when it doesn't rain, it's like, we're gonna, doesn't matter. We're going to fucking roll tomorrow. It's good. You still got that hype in your mind, you know. Yeah. You don't want Endymion hangover coupled with being pissed off at because they moved it up.
So, the city told them to go fuck themselves. And just like they told Krewe du Vieux to go fuck themselves.
They weren't fucking around with these Mardi Gras crews this year.
Hearing it from anyone this year, it was just, y'all are rolling when you're rolling and fuck you. And that's interesting. But then there was this gamesmanship about whether or not they were going to go to Jefferson Parish,
which was aided and abetted by my buddy Mike Yenny, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's an idle threat when you think about it, though. Like, they don't want to be out there. Nobody wants... It's almost like, okay, yeah.
But think how much bigger they could make their floats if they were out there.
Yeah, well, they could make them huge. They could do whatever they want. But
I think it's
nobody
great.
would be out there to see it, which is why Jefferson Parish is having the trouble that they are now with their parades. I don't really.
I feel like that though. If Endymion said we're gonna be, like, they would instantly be the biggest and best parade in Jefferson Parish, and I think a lot of people would. I think it would re-energize Jefferson Parish Mardi Gras.
It definitely would.
People would get really excited about that.
They need Endymion. And then we can get another super crew to roll uptown on Saturday.
Or in Mid-City.
Nah, fuck that. They just don't get a parade. Stupid that they even have one now.
Maybe we can bring the crew of Mid-City back to Mid-City.
That'd be great. Sold.
Saturday.
That's a good deal right there.
In the daytime.
Everybody join, infuse it with a bunch of that Mid-City money.
Instead of Sunday morning at 8 a.m. or whenever the hell they roll.
Right. Uptown.
Yeah.
So, but then also Endymion got rained on a little bit anyway.
They did.
Just because they're so huge and they can't get all their shit in by on time, they did get rained on.
It rained after the parade went by, so everyone was back at our house, and then it was maybe 9 o'clock or something, and it just poured.
Yeah.
The downtowners got the brunt of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Well, that day I made my Fat Tuesday costume, and I was contemplating whether I would be able to go to out for the parades on Sunday. And goddamn, that fucking flu it stuck around, and it never got bad enough to where it incapacitated me, but it never got good enough to where I was like, I'm fine, I'm recovered from this fucking thing. It always just kind of sat in that mid-level. So I did my costume that night. I watched Mardi Gras Indian documentaries, which is my tradition. And then Tisha was telling me that I needed to not go out on Sunday, to go out to the bayou, rest up with her while she took care of me, and be ready on Monday. And I was just like, that sounds fucking pretty good. So I fucking skipped all of Sunday.
Wow, you didn't do your box of wine.
Didn't do the box of wine. Although I feel as though Alvin Kamara on his float had his own private box of wine party, from what I understand. And, he's clearly the future, so... But I wrote my sermon out, and I sent it to another member of our crew, DJ Doug, on DJ Muddy on Twitter. He read it for everybody, and then... I saw the pictures and everything. I missed Jeff in Thoth. That really kind of disappointed me to a certain extent, because that day is a little fat Tuesday for me.
Yeah, that's always been a big day for you.
It slowed me down. What really slowed me down is that I wouldn't have had even the nights that I was sick at your place, I had a place that if shit fucking started to turn for me, I could get there and then get home. But that day, you're on the street drinking for 6 fucking 8 hours, you know, so... And with no place to really crash if you get wonky or something, so...
Well, I will say... I think skipping Sunday, if you were feeling terrible, was a good choice because what happened was right around the time that Thoth was about to roll, or rolling near where I watch it, near Magazine and Jefferson, there was a huge, gully washer of a storm. And then, but it only lasted like 5-10 minutes, and then it did the summer thing where it just gets hot, but it's like steamy hot. And then the rest of the parade, the whole parade, was fucking summer ass weather out for Thoth Sunday.
And then all the smells get reconstituted too and that kind of shit.
But I'm telling you, it was so steamy. It was like a sauna out there.
Maybe it was, I don't think that would have been good for the flu.
No. It was, and we enjoyed ourselves. We saw y'all. That was awesome. You threw us a grapefruit that said it never rains on Thoth. Sharpie.
So, let me tell you what this was like this day. Doing this is such a strange process because you have to get up and you have to be there. You have to be to the hotel at 8 o'clock in the morning. They have the whole crew meets at the Hilton. It's a rush to get there. It's like a hurry up and wait situation. You get into the ballroom with everybody, and we got to find our table. We got to find our costume and shit. We got to get our costume on, and
you're getting fucked up the whole time.
And you start drinking.
It's morning drinking, not even day drinking.
Right. It's like there's liquor on the table, and you're getting and you're just being fussy about, is my mask? Can I see out of my mask? Give me the little scissors so I can cut.
Any number of logistical challenges are being presented to you.
And that goes on for a good, 10, 20 minutes until you have everything down. Everything's good. And then it's like, 9 o'clock? And then you're just kind of sitting there waiting.
And you don't roll till 11:30.
Yeah, well, and then they don't dismiss the group until 10:30 or so.
Is there a breakfast buffet or anything?
Yeah,
okay, well, you got that going for you.
But
which is nice.
Which is nice.
It goes
breakfast foods are always nice.
It goes on for
please and thank you.
A painfully long time, and the whole time there's a DJ. And they're playing all the butt rock of the 70s.
Because I was about to ask you, what's he playing?
Yeah, it's
play that funky music. Cat Scratch Fever. Bad Company.
Born in the USA. Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, that's a classic.
Just one after another.
Just buy your 95.7 over.
Basically,
and over.
Without all the do you need to kick your drug habit ads and shit that.
So. That's all going on. And then they dismiss the groups. They dismiss, float number 10, for some reason has to go to bus number 3. And, the buses are numbered differently from what the floats are numbered. And all of these people are drunk as shit, and they're already kind of rowdy frat boy types in their late middle age anyway.
So just any sort of system they're going to buck.
Yes.
That's just in their DNA.
Exactly. So
they will mock even their own crew.
Exactly.
Because they just have to buck every system.
Exactly. And that goes on for an extended period of time. So there's this mass confusion getting onto the buses, and then everybody gets onto the buses. And
so does an entire bus fit an entire float?
Not always.
Okay, so then that's probably why the numbers
makes
don't
it
add
worse,
up. Yeah.
right? And then there's confusion of people getting on.
A third of this float is on this bus, 2/3 of that one. Oh, damn!
So they sort all that out, and then the buses sit for another 30 minutes because they can't figure out when they can go.
Carbon monoxide shooting out and everything.
And then the bus starts going, and then this year. The guy sitting behind me, beats on the back of the thing. Hey man, listen, I'm not peeing.
That's all you hear.
Which means he's actually peeing into the bottle that he's brought with him.
Okay. Oh, well, he's putting it in the bottle?
Yeah, sure. Right.
Well, I don't know why he needed to involve you.
Well, he thought it was funny.
Oh, okay.
But so that's fine.
It's a hazing ritual.
A minute later, he tosses the bottle out of the window. It's fine. So we keep going.
Wait, he just throws it out onto the road?
Yeah.
Onto Chapatulas?
Yeah.
Well, that's a
so anyway,
dick move.
So about 3 minutes later...
What kind of bus is this that has windows?
It's a school bus.
Okay.
So wait, not done yet. 3 minutes later, it happens again. He has to pee again.
Oh, Jesus.
And this time he's got like a red Solo cup.
Broke the seal. Okay. Oh, so it's getting his... Oh.
That goes out the window.
He could have just dumped the... All right.
3 minutes later, he's got to go again.
I think he needs to get his blood sugar checked.
Well, by this point, it's become...
Or his prostate.
Yeah.
It's not only that, but he's also become an exhibition for the entire bus to enjoy.
God.
Where he's like...
I'm doing it again, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Jesus, man. This is sounding awful, Jeff.
So that's basically...
It's a Sunday morning.
That's the ride over to the float. Then we get to the float, and everybody has to climb onto the float, and immediately it starts to rain. Whoosh! A good 10-15 minutes of just like really serious downpour while we're just standing on the float. And
y'all have your ponchos, or you're under a overhang or something?
Everybody gets into their ponchos.
It's not rolling.
No. And then that goes on for a little while, and then it ends. So it sounds like a bad day, but it's not. This is just like funny shit that happens.
Yeah, it sounds like shit you just got to put up with.
Right.
But it's definitely shit you'd rather not put up with.
Under normal circumstances, I guess that's true. I don't know. It's fine.
Well, the rain, sure. Guy pissing behind me and making a big deal out of it. And under no circumstances do I ever want to put up with that.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
I mean, you heard it probably hitting the water, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean...
Partially, of course, I guess. But anyway, it was a good ride. Allie said it was too hot. It might have been. I couldn't really tell.
You were on the shady side of the float.
That's
your
true.
float, so you got lucky.
That's true.
Those guys on the other side didn't look so good.
Let me get back to something we talked about earlier. Too many beads? It's definitely too many beads. And that's from the point of view of being on the float.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many beads. You have to just constantly bail the beads off the float just in order to get them off the float by the time you're finished.
And so how do you, as a float rider, are you pretty good at keeping a steady amount of shit getting thrown the whole time? Like, are some people good at it, some people bad at it? Because I've always thought, man, there's got to be a little sweet spot.
Yeah, I think...
where they're just getting rid of a shit ton of stuff.
It definitely feels like work. Like you really do have to unload all that stuff. So you're just constantly bailing the stuff out. And I think that it would probably do just as well to have fewer beads than we had. And just to have the other things to throw. Because I liked...
plush and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of plush animals and footballs. Because when you throw the other things, people really enjoy them. Like you can throw the football to people and they like that. And they like.
Yeah, I love going for a pass and seeing the guy in it.
Yeah,
it feels like real football.
People dig it. And the other thing that we did this year is we brought grapefruit onto the float. I think we're the only people. That was the rarest throw in Mardi Gras this year. We were the only people.
I guarantee you it was.
We had about 10 grapefruit that survived Dad's tree.
You and your dad are the only ones that did this.
Yes.
Yeah, it was definitely a rare, priceless.
And if we had thought about
item
more than a day in advance, I would have taken some time to decorate them a little bit better. But as it was, I just brought some marks-a-lots and drew faces on them and stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we were the only people to throw grapefruit, so we had some grapefruit, and that was fun. And we had the rest of the stuff. It went well. It was fine. Just by the end of the run, you are completely spent and just full of endorphins, and you just want to get back to catch Bacchus.
And you did.
I did. I fell off my bike.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Oh, shit.
But no, that's just where you are. You're like, okay, get back up. And
The whole I'm drunk and therefore limber type. You know, you roll with the. You know.
I guess. And then we got back and saw Bacchus, and that's the point where, like you say, like that's the high point of Mardi Gras usually, and you missed this year, I guess. But it's like that whole night of watching Bacchus is just kind of just unwinding from all that.
Yeah, it is a great parade. And did they fucking pelt the new Donkey Kong with beads? They did.
They didn't.
They didn't.
At least not where I was.
See, there's a way of communicating to people, to the masses. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, this thing is going to get its fucking ass kicked.
Yeah, the new King Kong float. Right?
Yeah, I called it Donkey Kong.
And they put the King Kong and the Baby Kong and the Queen Kong all on one big float.
Were they all new?
The Baby Kong was the same, but the big monkeys were new.
So Baby Kong got pelted with beads then?
No,
all of them did
none
not.
of them got hit with beads. At least where I was. Now, other people may have seen it differently, but where we were standing, nobody threw beads back at the monkeys.
All right, well, goddamn.
Which I know, it's kind of interesting.
I have a lot. Well, maybe we can handle this ladder thing.
But anyway, so that was that day.
And who was the king? The guy from the Farmers commercials?
Yes.
Character actor. I like him. I don't know. He's been in some Coen Brothers too. I don't know his name.
Oh, J.K.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
How was he as a king?
He's alright.
I always like it when they act kingly.
On float.
I always like it when they play a role, like King Bacchus, like James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini is the best one, right?
He did the best one, yeah.
I think so.
I was standing next to...
He was drunk and happy and kingly. R.I.P.
I was standing next to my Dalmatian friend Trisha when J.K. Simmons came by, and she didn't know who it was until she saw him. She goes, "Oh, I know who that is.
That's that guy.
He always plays an asshole." So
he's a really great character.
He is. In every role.
I skipped Bacchus as I always do. No regrets. Feel great with my decision. Just really great.
They did overload the route with cops that night. In fact, our entire intersection was just the cops cordoned it off. So we had to kind of sneak in around the barricades.
Weird.
Right? Yeah, it was really strange. But that's how that day goes. I think they just over prepare for it.
So Monday rolled around.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was roll over, grab my thermometer, stick it in my mouth. That motherfucker came back at 97.5. I was like, I think I'm ready to go. I'm good. I've been healed out on the bayou. We get in the car. We roll out to fucking the Dirty Boys. She gets all dressed up. I get all dressed up. Not like in costumes, but in like crazy hats and frilly shit, you know?
Yeah.
Fun looking stuff. And I'm like ready to catch up. Like my football team is 8-8. And it needs to win. And a couple other teams to lose for me to even make the playoffs at this point. And we believe. So we hit Bourbon Street. We hang out at the gay bars and everything. We get drunk. They're taking pictures on Monday. And I was like, we need to see some titties. God damn it, since I was a fucking high schooler, I've been seeing titties on Bourbon Street. And every fucking year, I've at least seen one pair of titties in the public domain.
I'm so proud of you.
I've kept it real. So we walked down there. We saw some. 4, actually. Walked all the way down Bourbon Street, hit Unique Grocery, got a couple 40s. Walked all the way down to the gallery, and I was thinking about seeing Orpheus downtown, but then I was like, I have never seen it uptown, so let's catch a Uber up there. Met up with y'all, and when I saw like it coming down the street, and I saw all the little lights reacting with the oak trees on St. Charles. Because I've always seen it, you know, on Canal or on Chapatulas, where there's just, you know, wide open spaces above it.
Okay.
You know, I saw it down there in the canopy of all those oak trees and everything, and all the lights were bouncing off of it, and all the lights that they have on their floats, and all the flambeaux, and it just looked. I was like, yes, this is fucking gonna be very, very nice, and it looked way, way, way prettier than it does downtown, and probably because it just was so confined. And then, hot damn, my favorite parade in all of Mardi Gras, just like the Mamaru got sent out first, it was like right near the beginning. Like they sent out their royalty and whatnot. One of them was Key and Peele or Peele.
It's Keegan Michael Key.
The Key one. And then Smokey Mary was right there, and I was like, because that's all I really want to see in that parade. I mean, it's a beautiful parade, and it had some weird ass theme this year, and I was like, okay, yeah. That's
the Folly of Astaroth.
That's what they do. I was like, oh, it's some Orpheus shit.
It was one of those things that you have to Google, right?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. I was like, Orpheus shit.
Okay.
And had a ballin' ass night with y'all. Don't remember much. Oh, Super Deformed was there.
That's right.
I remember that.
Yeah. A lot of people showed up that usually not
my friend Nathan was there too.
That's right, right. So a lot of people came by for that Monday night, which is unusual, but it was really good. It ended up being kind of an impromptu, really super good party that night. That was fun.
Yeah, usually, so before Orpheus, our neighbors did the new Dead Beans Parade spinoff, which is the Mid-City Bayou St. John version of the Red Beans Parade. And that was really cool. We went and just to see them off and say hello. So we biked over to the bayou and saw them all go by, and all their costumes looked great. But it was also just this really cool neighborhood gathering, because it was all people from the neighborhood, and they were going to different bars in the neighborhood, and people were coming out of their houses to say hello and wave them on. And I could just tell that this is going to be the new neighborhood thing.
Dead Beans
for Lundi Gras.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier it's the Dead Beans is the offshoot of the Red Beans group.
Yeah,
people use the beans to decorate their.
But what makes them Dead Beans?
A lot of people did like my friend Carrie did hers. She was a Beetlejuice, so she did a Beetlejuice.
So it was like a skeleton type theme.
Yeah, skeleton zombie type stuff, but
with red beans.
Yes.
Yeah, with all kinds of beans.
Oh, okay, black eyes and limos.
All kinds, yeah.
Kidneys.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was
Pintos.
It was just a nice gathering, and they had some bands and stuff. So it was neat. We might try and do it next year. I don't know, but I was also very happy to just go and see it for 20 minutes and then go back home, and then come uptown and see Orpheus, which was so good.
It really was.
And Proteus was great. I love those Lundi Gras evening parades. As you guys know, I usually go to Avenue Pub for Lundi Gras, but after last year seeing a Nazi biker gang there, I was like, I think I'm just gonna go hang out with my friends.
Jesus.
Well,
come on, Avenue Pub.
I said a minute ago, I thought it was a really good Lundi Gras night party, which is unusual for me because I'm usually trying to get everything ready for Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it was good because I spent that day making the red beans that we usually eat on Tuesday, and they came out really well, and we got to eat those that Monday night, and that was fun to share with everybody. And I thought that they came out really well this time. Believe it, if I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
We had a little bit of a bite of them that night, and yes, they were balling.
Yeah, they were good.
They had umami. They were umami as fuck.
Was it the pickle meat?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was. It's always the pickle meat. You have to have pickle meat. Orpheus has been throwing. They did the Alan Toussaint doubloon that when after Alan Toussaint died. That it's a really big, thick doubloon that has it looks like a record.
Oh.
And
I missed it.
Michael's got one of those a couple of years ago, or was it last year? I don't remember, but she has one. This year they did a Pete Fountain one in the same style, and she got one of those.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
She's a doubloner.
Yeah, she's one of those people. And that's everything I remember from that night, actually. But it was good.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who I was I remember you and I were Mardi Gras explaining the Proteus axles to somebody. I can't remember who it was. I was like, I know there were new people there. Who were they? But it was Nathan's friend.
Well, we had a pretty good porch party that Orpheus night, too, and two really weird-looking bros walked by, and they were like, "Hey, man, which way is Chapatula Street?" And they did this shit that tourists in the quarter do to me all the fucking time. Whereas I go, and Minkles was there, too. We both, I mean, it's so easy. We were like, "It's that way." And they were like, "That way?" And they just pointed the opposite direction. We were like, "No, it's just go straight that way." So we go up there and we take a right. And it was just like, are you fucking with me right now? Because you just go straight until you see the fucking street. And they were just so wasted. And they were bro-y, but they were just, there was a weird lookingness to them.
I remember when that happened, and that's actually the second time that it happened that year, where like somebody comes up to you and asks for directions, and you tell them, and they, for whatever reason, insist that that's wrong. If it
only happens to you twice, you're fucking lucky. It
That
happens
happened
to me all the time.
That happened to me once on St. Chaddy's Day in the Irish Channel, where this girl was totally lost and separated from her people, and she was trying to give directions to where she was because her people were trying to come get her, and she was standing there, and we're on Constance and Toledano, and she's standing there on the phone, and we're just kind of watching, and she's on the phone saying, "I'm at Toledano and one fucking way. Toledano and one fucking way. That's what it says."
I am at Milan and no parking.
We have been laughing about this lady for years. Toledano in one fucking way.
I am at Burgundy and Freight Zone.
There's a
Burgundy Freight Zone.
Yeah, I think that this is a common story.
It was so
we
good.
have one in the quarter during one white linen night where again white linen bro and is yelling at his white linen girlfriend about which way they're supposed to go, and he keeps saying that, no, Canal Street is that way, pointing the wrong direction, and he's talking about Armstrong Park, but he is insisting on calling it Satchmo Park. Satchmo Park is that way, and again pointing the wrong way both times.
Satchmo Park.
Just yelling at her. For whatever reason, people get really drunk and stupid and lose their sense of direction.
Well, with your girl, I can only imagine her partners were driving in the car, saw a one-way fucking street, turned down it, and then just kept looking for fucking, what was it, Toledano?
Yeah. No, eventually they kept telling her to put someone else on the phone.
Oh, they were smart.
And they got her to hand the phone to... I believe Patrick or somebody else, but we found them. They were like, they like whoever. I think Pat grabbed the phone, and this girl's friends were like, "Okay, where is she? Because she is not making any sense."
I think one night, Tisha and I were like, she had parked the car, came out and met me, got wasted, and then we were going back trying to find the car, and I was like, "Where is the car?" She was like, "It's 2 blocks from where you go right on Frenchman." And she kept saying it, and I was like, and then like later next morning I was like, I memorized the phrase. I was like, "You realize this
is 2 blocks from where you go right."
Like that's you're putting a memory that you have of where you must always go right at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's the good stuff.
Those boys, and Tisha actually has a good picture of me and Chris at our wits' end looking at them, and we both have our fingers pointed towards Chapatulas, and we both have this. Chris is looking at them like she's about to fucking slit their throats, like she's got to look like "you fucking dumbasses." I'll post that on the
thing
on the Facebook page, the Hunger Downcast Facebook page. So then it's Fat Tuesday.
Yeah.
I started my own red beans that night. It was way different than yours. It wasn't as creamy. It was more meaty and kind of greasy and stuff like that. They cooked all night. It was beautiful. We load it up in the car. We call an Uber. We're both super fucking hyped to get to downtown to where the party is, right? And we get you don't do Uber, right?
No.
We get one of those Uber drivers that comes to a complete stop and waits 5 minutes, does about 5 to 10 miles under every speed limit, lets people in the traffic. Just a super careful guy. And he's got some smooth jazz playing, you know. And he's like 60 years old. And I forgot his name. It was like, it was a last name. It was like Hadley or something like that, right? That's what it said. And I get in the car and I'm super hyped. And then this guy's like, okay, let's go. Click, 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 as he's like merging off like from the parking lot.
Okay.
And I'm like, this motherfucker is going to drive me crazy the entire fucking time. I am so ready to get there. And he had no fucks to give. And he took the longest way to get there, right? So, and the whole time I'm like looking off of the interstate and I'm seeing like Mardi Gras Indians walking in Treme and big barbecues happening and shit like that. I'm just, God, please just get me to the fucking gallery because that's where we're going. Well, we get on Esplanade and like it must have been remnants of St. Anne or St. Anne itself or something was going by, but there was a massive sea of people. And we don't know whether to take Decatur or Royal, and he says that he saw a car turn down Royal. And I'm like, well, if another car is doing it, then it must be pretty clear, and I don't want to fuck with Decatur, so let's do that. Well, we turn on the Royal, and we are immediately, but at some point, the place gets so full, but the streets aren't closed, that there's a car in just this fucking huge river of people. And like everybody's drunk.
Right.
Nobody's moving. The car is moving like you're just letting your foot off the brake. And this point is where Hadley's demeanor that I had previously railed against became a saving grace. Right? Because everybody was like looking at him and like going, what the fuck are you doing? You shouldn't be driving here. What the fuck is this car doing? And Hadley's just
chill.
He's got the fucking music on and he's just letting off the gas and he's just scooting a little forward and like a drunk fucker will just like kind of wander in front of him and they'll just be like, oh no, it's cool. And I'm in the back going, you're the right man for this. I'm hyping him up. I was like, you're the right man for this job, man. You got this. Because I've completely just like been like, thank God the windows were tinted. Because nobody could see Tisha and I in there. Because I was so embarrassed. And we were seeing people we knew out there.
Oh.
Right? We were like, oh, I don't want to. And everybody was just fucking bagging on us. Like, stupid motherfuckers. You can't come in here. And I'm like, okay. And then like, he, in his grace, never lost his cool, never, went a little too far, didn't bump into any of the children, and got us there. And then we started drinking and such. I won't go into everything.
Sure.
Y'all go ahead and tell me about your morning, and then we'll go back into the afternoon and stuff.
Okay. Well, we checked all the boxes. You get up and you make sure you catch Pete Fountain in them. That's what she did. She went up to do that.
Pete and them, not them and them.
And
it's Pete's people, right?
Yeah, Pete's people, obviously.
They don't carry around the urn with Pete's ashes in it or anything.
Yeah, no,
that'd be cool.
That would be cool, but they didn't. The skeleton crew this year did something really neat, and I don't even know if it's out on the table anymore. But they did their own program of their costumes, right? And this was the tricentennial, and so they're all like New Orleans characters, but in bone form, right?
Okay.
And they handed out this program, which was basically a comic book that they drew, with their own artwork in it and everything.
Hell yeah.
And like explanations of what like a drawing of the costume and an explanation of what their costume was. So there's like, Ignatius Riley and the
Louis Armstrong.
And a whole bunch of New Orleans characters. And it's really cool, and I'll have to show
King Cake Baby.
I don't think they had that.
Not Pelicans mascot King Cake Baby.
But they had a lot of cool stuff.
Umbrella Man. With
Ruthie the Duck Lady.
That's pretty
shit
legit.
like that. And, so we checked that box. Then we went to see Zulu to check that box because you have to go up there and see Zulu.
2 boxes I've never checked. Next year I'm going to see Rex and Zulu.
Anyway, here's my Zulu story. We were talking earlier about the Holy Grail thing and how that was a deflection.
Right.
So I'm standing there, and I'm standing about 4 or 5 rows back, on Jackson Avenue. And there's a guy with a coconut. And I see that he's going to toss this coconut. He's looking.
He's got that look.
Yeah. And he's looking over my shoulder, basically. Like somebody behind me is going to get this coconut. I'm like, okay, I see he's going to do that. The thing goes flying. And it comes within range of me. Like if I wanted to catch this coconut, all I would have had to have done was extend my hand and just snag it. But I'm thinking, well, this is probably not for me. I'm going to just
in your grace.
Yeah, I'm not going to participate in the coconut. So I kind of step away, and it goes to the person behind me who doesn't catch it. It drops it. It goes up in the air, bounces up in the air, bounces off of another person,
hits them in the numbers, but they can't make the reception.
Right. And then gets bobbled by somebody else and into this girl's hands.
Oh, Jesus.
Also bobbles it into her own face. It smacks her in the mouth and chips her tooth.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
And the look on her face is amazing because, like, you could see when she's got it in her hand, she's like her face lights up, and then it hits her in the face, and it changes, obviously. And then her tooth is on the ground.
Oh, like that bad?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And it's she's really upset, but she keeps the coconut. But
macabre.
Yeah, and it's just this horrible thing that happens, and I'm thinking to myself, shit, I should have just caught that coconut.
She'd have a tooth now.
Yeah, this is all my fault.
Yeah, man.
She's got expensive dental work.
I'm like Marcus Williams, having gone after having taken a dive.
You clearly, yeah.
And not going for the ball. If I had just gone for the ball, then none of this would have happened. So I felt bad about that for a little while. But we saw her later, and she definitely was still holding that coconut.
Well, fucking right she was.
Yeah, that's right.
She had a Mardi Gras moment.
Yeah. That was definitely one of those.
Way more than, I saw that happen. It's like, that did happen.
Right. Checking
if
boxes.
she found the tooth, it would have helped her.
They did. They picked it up off the street.
Oh, okay. She's in better shape.
It was a piece of tooth. I don't know if that helps or not.
I think, they just glue it back on, huh?
Anyway, so we did that. Checking boxes again. We went and saw the Wild Magnolias come out, and it's always fun. They came out, and Bo Jr. sings, and
that's another box to check.
Yeah, and that's really good. And then we went and saw Rex, and Rex
Who's that?
Stops and pees at Downman House.
Oh, right.
They always wait for us, which is always nice. They had a tricentennial type theme this year. It was old New Orleans history, so
the good old days.
Yeah, stuff like
the
that.
segregated days.
Something like that, yeah.
The Brights and the Whites and the Freemans.
Yeah.
It's all of them.
Who was Rex this year?
Poco Sloss.
Yeah, Poco Sloss.
That's a weird name.
Yeah.
He's on the Sewage and Water Board now.
Yeah, he is. And he's on several other of these...
the liquidation board.
Yeah. Yeah, so... this is what's happened in the post-Katrina years especially. It had gotten to a point where you would be mad at Rex's, oh yeah, they think they run the city, da-da-da-da-da. Well, they've kind of creeped into a position where these really are people who run the city. Like, They had lost their
They
position.
crept into that position? I thought they were always in that position.
There was a time from like the late 70s through the 80s and 90s where they didn't have control of everything.
Oh,
they
the
were
black
on,
folks had
They
moved
were on
in.
every board. Exactly.
Okay. And that's why...
And then in the post-Katrina years, it's gotten to where, no, they really do run everything.
Okay.
And that's why...
Well, maybe they'll start rolling first again.
Maybe
Maybe soon.
Maybe so. But that does make the evening where we all kind of sit on our couch and live tweet the meeting of the courts.
I missed all that again this year.
A little bit more poignant because you can watch all of the important people and all the nonprofits come and bow to Rex, and it gets really kind of disgusting. But
It sounds it, but someone made a drinking game out of it this year that was really clever, I thought.
Which one was that?
I don't know. I'll have to forward you the tweet, but it was like drink twice every time there's a board, a miserable looking page.
Yeah.
There was one like anytime somebody like lusts after an underage girl, or Errol makes a lusty comment towards an underage girl, or something like that.
Roman numerals in a page's name,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Someone who's the third, but is called Trey. You know, one of those
stuff like that. Yeah. Every time you hear the word lineage,
yeah, I think that was on there.
Pour some out for Dorothy Mae Taylor. A Comus page with like 3 last names who goes to Stewart Hall. Like, you know, his name is like Taylor Robinson.
It's one of those.
Because they all have 2 last, like they have to have a hyphenated last name, not because they're, but just to show that they have lineage, you know, they're from different families. Comish page with an IV, you know, appended to his name, who goes to like Trinity Episcopal, because they all go to like Trinity Episcopal or Stewart Hall. Comus Page, whose first name is a relative's family name, who also goes to Country Day. You know, you have to sit and watch for that subtlety the whole night.
I was gonna try and put it on at the gallery, but it slipped my mind because it's on public TV, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Errol and Peggy Scott get to narrate it for you. Yeah, they have a ball, literally.
They do love it.
Yeah.
And did Errol ask Mitch about the municipal auditorium? You bet your ass he did.
Of course he did.
Every damn time. My Mardi Gras day it ended with watching Meeting of the Courts, as it always does, but it got off to a little bit of a late start. We didn't really plan ahead for costumes very well, so we had to do a little bit of last-minute costume box assembly.
That's what it's there for.
Yep. And which was fine. I think the weather was like a big question mark until the day of, so it was really hard to plan ahead for some of those things. Plus, I was just having such a good time at all the parades that I didn't really feel like, putting
too hard on it.
Yeah, putting too much work into it. So, whatever. It ended up being a beautiful day. And we headed downtown because I wanted to do St. Anthony again, meet up with the Ramblers. But we got down there and soon realized that we were getting downtown a little bit later than we were last year, and it was going to be impossible to park. So we were like way further down the Bywater. So we ended up closer to. We're like walking through the Bywater, and we see there's one of the St. Anne groups, because there are like multiple St. Anne Society groups.
It's loose,
now. Yeah, but they're all at Bud Rips. And so I'm like, perfect, let's go get around. So I go in, and I get 2 Big Bloody Marys and 2 Miller Lights, which was a total of $32. It's like, oh my God, what the hell is happening?
That bar's different.
Oh my God, it was crazy. I was like, did I hear you correctly? That is so much money.
That bar is totally different now.
So, you know, it was like a little bit of a frustrating start to the morning because I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm running late. There's no chance we're going to meet up with St. Anthony now on time. I just paid way too much for drinks.
At least you didn't shart.
I didn't shart, but like I also didn't like, I went into Mardi Gras Day with a plan, and then I wasn't feeling like like I had the personal fortitude enough to be flexible.
You were getting challenged in the first quarter.
I was getting challenged.
The other coach had your number.
And it was super crowded, and then I saw Kim Marshall's mom.
Oh, I love her!
And so...
Things are picking up when you see her.
Yeah, so Kim was around, but we didn't end up seeing her. We just saw her mom.
She's cool as fuck.
And then we just kind of decided to just wander and make our way. We were like, well, our eventual destination is the gallery, but we'll just, like, take our time getting there. And you know, so we ended up meeting up with people along the way and just seeing the sights and seeing the, you know, we saw some folks come down Franklin with a band, and, you know, the costumes were amazing as always, and we just kind of wandered around. We ended up making our way to the gallery and went down to the river for a while. You know, it ended up just being a really beautiful day, I think.
It was. The weather, again,
it was
cooperated.
Gorgeous. I actually got pretty sunburned because I didn't prepare for it to be sunny and beautiful all day. Yeah, and then eventually we went home and started the Lenten clean a little bit early, and
oof.
Yeah, but it was really nice. That was my first time going all the way to the river on Mardi Gras Day, and I felt a connection with Greg. It was just like really good. It was a good day.
Wait, I didn't even talk about my Mardi Gras day. I just got to the gallery.
Oh, shit.
I'll go through it quick.
Okay. Wow.
I brought some red beans there.
That was the story.
I brought the red beans out. Jeremy told me he had utensils. All he had was forks. I'm like, that's all right. You can eat red beans and rice with forks. I pull out my rice maker. I don't have the bowl. There's no rice. It's just the red beans and forks. And I think after I'd thrown several of these New Year's Day parties, and after all the food was eaten at your place, I think to myself, these fuckers are going to find a way to eat these red beans. It's no problem. It sucks. I wish there was rice. I wish there were spoons. But these fuckers are going to find a way to eat these beans with these forks.
You know how we did it?
No problem. Oh, you saw this.
I did it.
How'd you do it?
I put them on top of a hot dog like a chili dog.
Well, I do know at some point we had as many hot dog buns as we did hot dogs, and then at one point we had way more hot dogs than we had buns. So I think people were like laying the hot dog buns down and pouring the beans on them and then eating them, or maybe mixing up the hot dogs in them.
Maybe.
They were gone at the end of the day, and I was like, mission accomplished. I knew they would find a way.
You know, I won't say who, but someone gave me an edible.
Oh, yeah?
And it was, it made my day.
Someone close to me?
Very special.
Those things are really magical.
Man, it was wonderful. Just put a nice shine on everything.
I got a good beer buzz, and it was a great, like, Sheryl Crow good beer buzz in the morning type thing. Like, and no matter how many Miller Lights I drank that day, I just had a pace where I never got too drunk and I never got too sober. I was always Baby Bear with the fucking Miller Lights, and it was beautiful.
That's great.
And then that corner is one of the best fucking corners in the quarter on Mardi Gras Day, because it's halfway, it's the bar and bathroom halfway between Canal and Frenchman and the Marigny and shit. So if you're coming from downtown and you're going towards the Marigny, Bywater, Frenchman Street area, you make a stop at Harry's Corner and pee and get a beer and dance and do whatever. Or if you're going the opposite direction and you're going from Marigny, Bywater, more downtown, then you stop there too.
It's really kind of the only bar in
that area.
Yeah.
And there's always like crews, little sub crews show up, live bands come up, jam for a little while, and then bounce. And then if you want to, you can just go and fucking dance with them, or you can just lean back. And having the gallery there, and also having it closed and only having friends there, and also it being like it's our second Mardi Gras there, and it really was a sense of accomplishment that I had. Like, for so many Mardi Gras, the huge pain in the ass was I had to leave the house, get to the ferry, cross the river, go from the river all the way down to Frenchman, get all the way back while getting fucked up the entire time in costume. Right? And it was just it was a trek. It was a fucking journey. Mm-hmm. And this year, I didn't make a traipse. I didn't go anywhere. I just sat in a chair in front of that gallery almost all fucking day while people like milled around and came to me, and it was awesome. And my football team was kicking ass, and so I was having so much fun. I did a big ass toast, and we did the fucking 40s.
Yep.
They went everywhere. That's always a fucking thrill. I decided to take some fucking mushrooms. They started to hit me. I decided to go to the river. I left the pleasant little beautiful corner, got to the river. Immediately, the fucking overcast came over. I looked down at the moonwalk, which previously was a perfectly usable fucking stretch. There was nothing wrong with the moonwalk. But they went over there and they smashed it all up. And they're redoing it, and I was just sitting there looking at it, and there's concrete and rebar sticking out. It's overcast. The mushrooms are hitting me, and I'm like, I don't even know why I fucking do these goddamn things. Every fucking time I get paranoid and weird if I'm in public. If I'm like private somewhere out in the woods or something, I'm fine. But if I'm in public, I get paranoid and weird around these things, but I always think this is not going to be the time it happens. And every time it fucking does, and it fucking hits me up there, I start getting the fear. I look at the concrete and rebar. I look at the fucking overcast. I think about what a waste of money this fucking whole fucking thing is, and how politicians have got their fucking... They're just going to do what they want. They're not going to provide for fucking poor people or anything like that. They're going to smash up this shit. And it just looked like the moonwalk in the movie The Road. It was like as if The Road had happened in New Orleans. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Mm-hmm. Roll back to the gallery. The sun comes out. Everything's good again. People are coming by. There's live bands. We're having fun. We're talking. We're visiting with people. We're dancing in the street. We give another toast. We decide, this is now into the evening, we're going to traipse down to Frenchman and hang out. So we go down. We hit the R bar. It looks like the scene is just past there. It looked like the party happened about an hour and a half to 2 hours ago. There's some people milling around. They look kind of fucked up. A live band starts up. I get a little bit hyped. Then they stop and walk on. I'm like, okay, well, this scene's over. Let's go over to Frenchman. I've had so many good times on Mardi Gras Day at Charters in Frenchman. There's usually some drummers there. Everybody's showing out. All the costumes are beautiful. I go down there. There's like 4 bros with the fucking trunk of their car open, playing some of the worst fucking dance music I could fucking imagine. It was like modern European shit, but it sounded bad. It must have been something after dubstep. Like, it wasn't dubstep, but it was something that occurred after it, that is occurring after it. Because it was dubsteppy, but it was even worse.
Okay.
And I was like, Jesus, this fucking sucks too. So I start heading towards back to the gallery where I'm safe, and I kind of like come into some mid-2000s rap, a little mid-2000s rap party that's happening in the middle of the street. I'm like, better, but I really just want a fucking brass band or something, you know. I don't find it, and I'm like, fuck this, I gotta go back. That scene, Cross Esplanade, and I blame, you know, in my head, Airbnb and the New Orleans. I blame them for that at some point. Don't ask me to explain it because I don't
Mushrooms.
have. Yeah, perhaps. I mean, nothing's going to explain those fucking bros with their. I mean, they took over that corner, and that corner usually was live local bands playing in the street, you know, drums and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And no one's going to go try and start up a little drum line, music line with that fucking shit blaring, you know. And then I hit a couple traditions. I punched some tickets. What'd you call it?
But checking boxes.
Checking boxes. I hit Molly's at the market. I showed the man the 3 or 4 times of the year that Molly's has a doorman. I showed him my ID just to say, oh, Molly's has a doorman. It's funny. Gave him some. Hung out there. Made my way back to the gallery. Went to Pirates Alley. Punched that ticket. Saw my ex-wife there. She was all right. I had seen her earlier in the day. She came by the gallery, and Jeremy says to me, as if it's like fucking, says it to me like it's an assassin coming to get me. Like he goes, yo man, Romy's outside by the garbage can. And I was like, it's okay, you know, we're just, you know, ex-husband and ex-wife. It's not like, you know, a disaster. He's like, okay man, well I'm just wanting you to know. I'm like, okay, it's cool. Right. And this is her first year actually going out at all since our divorce. So I was really happy to see her and that she went out. Caught her at Pirates Alley. Caught some friends there. And then moseyed on back and blew up the air mattress and spent the night in the gallery. Because I like seeing the quarter on Ash Wednesday. I like being there on Ash Wednesday. Because the tourists are surprisingly out and about and doing stuff on Ash Wednesday. It's like, it's not a big party day, but it's a business day.
It's like getaway day for a lot of them, like, or it may be their last day in New Orleans after.
Yeah, and they're going out to shop, and there were several of them that were like, well, we just didn't even expect all that. Like, they were like clearly caught by surprise by how fucking buck wild the previous day was, you know. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I mean, I still have my mascara on, so. And it was also Valentine's Day that day. It was fucking funny. I didn't do anything for it, obviously, but.
Yeah, we cleaned the house. It wasn't very exciting.
It's for single people to loathe. That's what Valentine's Day is. It's a single person holiday for them to hate.
Yeah, I mean, nothing about Valentine's Day inspires any, like, romantic feelings for me, so.
Particularly when it falls on Ash fucking Wednesday,
no, I mean,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so you're going to go out to dinner hungover with fucking ash on your head is basically what the Catholics are going to do.
Right. What? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. It took me a good, like, week and a half to feel like a person again, I'd say, after.
I think I told y'all this week that I'm just now feeling like myself. Like, I think I went into hibernation after Mardi Gras this year. But it's fine. It's fine. And now I'm back, and now it's time for St. Chaddy's Day. So
I think I bounced back a little quicker than y'all, but I do have there is a empty space there for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, like the fun's not going to happen at least until, you know, there's nothing else after that until like my birthday or Halloween. Like it's a long fucking haul after that.
No, the shit part of the year is here basically.
Yeah. I mean, but we and Jeremy make a shit ton of money during French Quarter Fest and Jazz Fest and stuff. So
yeah, it's the busy time for you.
It is, and we're grinding and slaying. So
yeah, grinding and slaying.
Yeah, well, that's how you go in that order.
Right. So, well, that was it, I guess.
That was it. I'm sure I may have forgotten something, but I saw almost everybody I needed to, and it's always a beautiful thing to spend that time with people. You know?
I agree.
I mean, that's the most fun of it. Granted, we're not going to see bad movies or anything. It's a pretty fun time with those people. But it's who you spend it with. And I saw everybody I needed to, so.
It wasn't as I didn't have a profound, like, communing with the universe like I did last year, I think. But it was still a very high point.
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm searching in my mind for, like a moment like that where like everything was like totally beautiful or like sublime in some way, and I guess there's not one I can pinpoint, but there were so many little moments where I definitely felt like, yep, it's Mardi Gras. Yeah, and they're all the things that I talked about already, like seeing the guy with the boot on his car, or seeing the honoring the chicken,
the shipwreck.
Yeah, the shipwreck. So there was a lot of that, and to me it added up to being like that was definitely Mardi Gras, and it was a good one.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think to a very full extent. Yeah. I seized the moment. I did the things I wanted to do. I had so much time with you guys. It was great. I mean, I feel like we spent a lot of nice quality time together. Yeah. That's like part of the best part is that feels like everyone else around the country is just doing the same old bullshit, and we're taking time to see each other and enjoy the spectacle and do the things, and then especially on Tuesday, it always blows my mind, like, if you look at your phone on Tuesday, everybody's just tweeting about workaday bullshit, and we're like,
yeah, I got a phone call that morning.
I feel a million miles away from this.
She was trying to sell me. She was like, how do you process the credit cards at your business? Have you thought about different ways? I was like, look, Mary, I'm in New Orleans, and it's Fat Tuesday right now, and you're going to have to holler back at me some other time. And she just laughed her ass off, and I'm like, I'm sorry, bye. And she got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there were parts of the year where I felt like I just described Fat Tuesday as checking boxes, like you can think of it as like going through the motions with some of it, and it is because you're okay. There's a thing I got to do. I do every year. Let's go do it. And some of it was production, like tonight I'm going to cook jambalaya. Tonight I'm going to cook this. I got it. But it's also like it's ritual. You do those rituals so that you can get to the point where you're experiencing the things. So, yeah, I think that I felt like that this year. I felt like there were times where I was like, okay, we're just doing this, but then it ends up being really good. Even the meeting of the courts, like... Okay,
that's another ritual I need to get up on because I'm too up into my rituals.
But you know what?
I skip Rex and Zulu. That's part of my rituals. I don't see them.
That's good, though. I mean... One of the things I tell people about Mardi Gras is that there's a million Mardi Gras going on all at the same time, and you can only do maybe like 8 of them.
Right.
There's so many different ways to experience Mardi Gras Day in particular, and you can't do them all. You just have to and that's why I had to let go. I'm not going to do St. Anthony this year. Okay, I got to let it go. And I'm going to do my 8 different things that I'm going to experience today. And that's going to be great.
Right. Yeah, letting go of the box of wine. I was just like, no big deal. There'll always be another one.
There will be another one. Yeah. And if not, you'll invent something different. Or you'll find something, there's so much communal and creative energy around.
It is a lot.
It feels like a force that's too, I don't know. It's too powerful. There's too many things to do. It's wonderful. You just get swept up on the wave of it all.
Well, there were a couple of things that maybe just me. I was going to say we were or we all were, but often it's just me. Worried about at the beginning of the year, and they were the things having to do with the surveillance or the crackdown on the parade rules and things like that, and how that was going to affect the way it felt. And once you get into it, you always it's reassuring to see how sprawling it is, and how just how creative every individual experience is, and the collective effect of that being just it's one uncontrollable thing that always has the potential to overthrow whatever whatever imposition is laid upon it,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is really the most reassuring thing, and it's the thing. That's the catharsis for me, like kind of realizing that anew every year, because I always do. I always get anxious, and then something happens to.
You were having Mardi Gras anxiety and shit.
Yeah, but it's always relieved for me
that it wasn't going to be as good.
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, "Yeah, fucking nerd." Jesus.
But I think I have to go through that as a ritual, because by the end of it, I always feel better, and I did again this year, so it was a good year. I think
we'll wrap it up. Yeah,
it's almost 12 o'clock, so I think we need to.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How long have we been recording?
Too long.
Oh, it was great. We fucking fired right through it. It was great. I fucking hate those breaks.
Yeah, we may break this one up though a little bit.
No, Jesus fucking Christ! You know how many podcasts I listen to that are like 2.5 hours long, and I listen to them straight through. It makes no fucking difference. You know what that would do to me if I was listening to a podcast and they stopped it, and then I had to go walk over to my fucking pod or my phone and like hit the next fucking button and then go through all that shit again. I'm just like, no, fucking, you don't have to break it up. Please don't.
Yeah, we might. Anyway, yeah, that's I don't know, Alla, do you have anything else to say, or?
No, I'm at the part of the night where I'm sleepy and I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I think we pretty much, I think we covered
No, wait, actually, I forgot about something that happened on Friday. It's not a long story, but I'm going to tell it.
I actually did leave out a thing, because I can't remember what day it happened on.
Do you think you can do it in 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, 11:57. Allie's gonna finish it up.
One night when Pat and I had dropped you off, because we gave you a ride home, we were in my car. Oh, so it was after Muses.
Yes.
Okay. We dropped you off, and we're heading back out up to Earhart. We're going right next to Sewage and Waterboard. We got Sewage and Waterboard on the left, and Earhart's are right up there. And we hear a guy screaming at the top of his lungs. And there's a truck parked along the side of the street. And we're sitting at the stop sign waiting to turn onto Earhart. And Pat's like, we gotta go back. And he puts it in reverse. And he backs up because there's a guy hanging out of the side of this truck screaming that people are coming to murder him. And we're trying to get him to calm down. I'm yelling at him, like, out of the passenger side. I'm like, it's okay, you're okay. But I don't want to, like, get out of the car because I don't know if he's hurt or if he's stronger than me, or, I don't know anything that's going on in this situation.
Get out of the car.
One of the security guys from the Sewage and Water Board comes over because he has also been hearing this guy scream for, it turns out, about 45 minutes. They call the cops, which I'm also not thrilled.
I like how he waited for you guys to show up before he finally decided maybe I better go over there.
I'm not thrilled about calling the cops, but they come and we're parked and Pat is out doing, his Pat thing and talking to the cops. And I'm kind of just watching this I'm like, do I need to record what's going on here? Because I'm like,
yes.
Are the cops going to kill this guy? That is my, number one worry. And it turns out they were awesome. They were super professional. They calmed him down. They tried to get an ambulance, but it's Mardi Gras, so there's, no ambulances in New Orleans. So they ended up driving him to the hospital themselves.
Jesus Christ.
But, yeah, it was the crisis unit, and they were great. And,
so they're built, they're made for that.
It ended well, I guess, but it was amazing because the top two concerns that I had in this situation were the police are going to murder this guy because he's having a mental crisis, and number two, if they call an ambulance, it'll set off a debt spiral that will ruin him financially for the rest of his life.
The second one seems a little less likely.
No, it happens all the time. Ambulances can slap you for a bill for like $2,000 and you never pay it off. I mean,
did he have a nice truck or was it a fucking beater?
I don't even know if it was his truck.
Oh, well, because if he doesn't have any money, they're not getting any money out of him.
I mean, it was there are so many things about this were a mystery to me.
The first option, though, could easily happen.
But that was like, I was just sitting there in the car thinking about how totally, like, what a great country we live in, that those are my two top concerns about this situation. It's just crazy. Anyway, and that, like, kind of, that also, like, got in my head a little bit about Mardi Gras. I was like, wow, this is...
Yeah, there's always that.
What a weird time we live in.
There's always that. There's always that person that's done too much drugs or is too fucked up. A guy fell into Tisha and fucked her leg up and it still hurts and shit like that, but it's just not something that jumped right out at me about it, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
anyway.
they actually, when I see people having a bad time, it's almost like I don't even, like I just kind of... because they're too drunk or they're pissed off or something. Just like, I saw very few assholes this year, like 2 or 3. It was a less douchey.
I saw a lot of them during the meeting of the courts, but other than that, it was pretty asshole-free Mardi Gras.
Well, that's a good one to end on.
All right, yeah, I think we got to shut this down. It's been
about
3 hours.
Oh my god!
As always, trying to get on a regular schedule of doing the show, but. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and thanks for listening. And we'll see y'all.
Bye. Good night.